Okay, we're starting episode 2 of the whatever, I think we'll still call it Sloppy Seconds.
Sloppy Seconds.
And we're at CBRD with Chad Block of
Here.
CBRD. So, and we have a whole shitload of questions, 233 as of now. We're going to go through them. And Steve has been going through and consolidating, basically.
Down to 6 good questions.
Yeah, a lot of them are repetitive and stupid.
Yeah, you guys need to learn how to
Some of
spell.
you can't spell. That's
Yeah.
always an issue. I can't
Grammar
understand what
problem.
you're asking is some of the issues.
But there is a lot of overlap. A lot of the same questions, a lot of tuner stuff, a lot of are you guys doing this? There are a lot of same things with 24x and 58x and microscored stuff.
That
so.
stuff is not,
I
video
don't even know
answer
what people-
questions.
That stuff is. So.
Yeah.
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 Matt
Well,
will be
that's
answering that.
the crank trigger on the motor. People want to know if it's how to change it from 24x to 58x, what they have to do in
Got
the
it.
software. That's,
Chad doesn't know anything about LS stuff,
Chad
which is okay.
thinks LS motors are stupid.
Yeah. He loves Subarus.
You guys can't get enough of them.
We
so.
agree.
Yeah.
Subaru.
I mean, actually, I'd be down with you guys putting LSs in all Subarus.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
That would make all of them much better.
Talk to IEG about that one.
Dude, if
Shameless
I
plug for IEG.
if we bend a rod in my Evo, we should LS swap it. Now that it's pushed a little bit further, if we bend a rod, Pavel, that's for you. We'll LS swap.
and we
my
should put a
Evo.
TH400 in it too, just totally ruin it.
all of it.
Like
Yeah.
a
Rear-wheel drive.
1971 TH400 out
Or
of
we
a
could
plow
start with
truck.
blow up a Subaru, put a 4G63 in it, and then put an LS
Whoa,
on
that's a
that.
good
Yeah,
idea.
I don't know.
Put a 4G63 with a TH400 in a Subaru.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that'll be the.
So
that'll be
Pavel,
the
I'm not
third
going to scrap my
installment.
Evo. You dick.
Ne-
All right.
Next week.
Scratch that question off. Okay. Why were you at Harry's?
Why was I at Harry's? I just cutting ECUs out. It's a junkyard.
Oh,
That's where he took the video for the pre-video for this thing.
got
Yeah,
it.
people were like, "Oh my God, Harry's! You're at Harry's."
Good.
I was cutting
Well done.
$15, $20 ECUs out to flash them and sell. And
Sweet.
Whatever. That's all.
Once again, recycling.
Yes. And my polo and leather shoes. I was in the junkyard. Yep.
Yeah, you look kind of nice. It was like after in between work on your way from one center to another center.
Yes, it was in between data centers. I stopped there. That's whatever. All right. Easy question.
So a lot of you all were asking about tuning videos, tuning stuff. Obviously a lot of you guys are not in the Northeast, and you're seeing some of the posts that I'm making about the workshops for Microsquirt, Megasquirt, and HP tuners. So you can stop asking, are we going to do videos? Because the answer is probably yes, but we have a whole lot of stuff to do before then, like actually carry out the first on-site one that we have not done yet. Again, Matt has a full-time job. A lot of us aren't even in the area. We're all over Eastern and Central PA. But we hopefully will be able to do downloadable videos or something where the guys from
It's not going to
from
happen
farther
anytime
away-
soon.
No,
because we have to
bandwidth.
figure out how all the local stuff works, and we're trying to make all of that work before we just give away tuning stuff. Because to make it worthwhile at all, we have to make some money on doing this at some point, So we're still going to give away stuff.
Yeah.
There's always stuff for free, but at the same time, we're going to focus on like better stuff. People can pay for classes and whatnot. So
Yeah, we want to get that structure down too before we record it and give it out. I want to have it.
yeah,
at a point
you're
where
going to be
it's
like,
actually a good
I
product.
paid $20 and I have this fucking video of Steve and Matt drinking and not doing anything. Which maybe,
I don't even know what you guys
which
are
some of
talking
you guys are total creeps and they would pay
Yeah, you
$20 to watch me.
Well,
and
based on
Steve.
some of the comments, yes, some of you guys would
Yeah,
really
I mean,
be into
read
that.
some of my YouTube
Yeah, the last video was actually pretty painful.
comments.
Why don't you shut the hell up?
All
Okay.
right, find something remotely intriguing on there. Let's see
all
what we
right,
can
all right,
do.
all right. So this was kind of funny because it deals with both of you a little bit, but someone asked if you guys would ever build like an LS rally car or something. I think
Oh,
someone,
Chad builds rally cars all
Well,
the
there
time.
we go. That's the Subaru
Stock
LS swap.
Subarus.
That's perfect.
Okay, we've covered that. Great.
Yeah, they
Subaru
poke
LS
rods.
swap.
I mean, I totally would build a rally car, but I hate like sanctioned racing events and rules and all that shit because you build a $1,000 rally car and then you got to put an $8,400 cage, everything else in it, or else you'll
Yeah.
burn to death. I can understand their rules, but I just don't like them. So probably not.
Well, he comes
So
from
you're
a place
you're
of
actually
rules.
against burning Subaru?
Burning
rally car?
live myself, I wouldn't enjoy, but
Got
burning
it.
Subarus with no people in them,
I'm
is
sure we
fine.
can plug somebody else into that project.
Setting up 80-pound injectors. I don't know what the baseline was, but there's a lot of questions on
What do you mean
80s.
setting up.
Maybe
Exactly.
switching from 60s to
When
80s,
you buy 'em, they're
or
already
when
set
you
up at
when you
80.
I mean from a
They're
from a
already
tuning
80-pound
perspective.
Yeah, I'm
injectors
not
when you
really
buy them.
sure.
I think they mean setting up software, which
Yes.
is
I've seen the tips.
it's a
cut
can
off.
of worms, ridiculous, broad-based.
Yep.
In
Just
what
the tip.
software? In whatever. I mean, I have base tunes available for 80-pound injectors for like 4 different sets of ECUs and a bunch of different motors. They're all 80-pounders. Sometimes it's as simple as just there's literally a field that says you have
Type in
25-pounders,
scaling.
and you're like
What is my
80, and you hit
multiplier?
enter. Or yeah, some of it all. That's
Or
a
you
can of worms.
Take what you have now, divide by. and
Ask a
I'll
better
add
question,
back.
and we'll give you a better answer next
Yeah.
time.
Hey, man,
I have
you
a-
get what you get.
there's
What
a
you
good
pay for,
question
and
next.
it's all free. So let's be honest.
Can I? Someone, I forget who it was. Senior Sancho. Can I have your soul?
Picture a sombrero and a mustache.
So is your soul available?
My Kia or my actual?
Well,
yeah,
if
like
you
a-
believe
so again,
in
shitty
religion
question.
and souls.
Shitty question.
How's
is
it
the
spelled?
car,
Is it- 'cause
or
it-
is it the?
The one's like an Asian country, right? No, that's
No, it's not
that like the
SEULC. Yeah, that's North Korea.
It's
yeah.
your soul for sale.
You can't have it. I won't give it away. I actually like that car a lot.
It's
So
a stupid
I
car.
don't really want to sell it.
It's a good car, but it's a stupid
It's
car.
good and stupid all at the same time.
Bet you look
Another
great in it.
80-pound injector question.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
next.
So, daily
What's
driver.
the injector? I don't understand. Like,
So, he's- I think-
ECU setup, so they want to know in like a scaling.
Yeah, like if they have a
Changing from 60
Silverado, I
pounders-
guess, and they have
Right,
HB
yeah.
tuners.
Sure.
Well, people always struggle with the HB tuners.
I feel
'cause
like
it's
if
stock
they would have
ECU
just, instead
tuning.
of typing that question, if they would have just entered that in Google, they would already have the answer.
Oh, that's a great topic that we tried to address last time, and we will certainly hit on again.
LM, let me Google that
Let me
for
Google
you.
that for you. Yeah, it actually does.
Yeah.
Look that up. Let me Google that.
So that's a
Yeah.
common theme with these videos, guys. I know you want Matt to explain some things, but Google is
Literally.
certainly a thing that will help with the basics of a lot of these questions. There's some
And a
good
lot of
questions
the,
in here.
a lot
but-
of the Google searches will take you to the Sloppy Mechanics wiki where these questions were answered and there's downloadable
yeah.
tunes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all good fun. But
All right, so here's kind of a good one. A guy asked this, and I forget what couple. There was a couple like this: daily driver, big power, turbo cars. What are some of the drawbacks with that? Are there limitations with? Hey, I want to do this, but is 600 horsepower too much? Is 700? I think there's a lot of factors
Yeah,
like turbo.
depends on
converter.
the
it's
chassis.
a broad question. I mean, engine displacement, and you can make
Yeah.
something really unfun that's small displacement. high
yeah. Do you want to
horsepower.
spin the tires a lot? Do you want it to
Right.
come in like a ton of bricks up top? Do you
Like, I
do you
think
want a
we-
blower car? Do you? Yeah,
We
that's,
speak from polar opposites too, because we're a high boost, small displacement.
Like my car.
Yeah, versus what you guys do, which is large displacement and torque
Relatively
early.
low boost, yeah.
Right. So I think there's a lot of things that have to be
Stick shi-
considered.
is it a stick shift
Is it
car?
all-wheel
Do you want it to
drive?
come
Is it
in
rear-wheel
early?
drive?
yeah, that's can
There's a
of
huge
worms.
difference between
There's
600
always,
wheel and a rear-wheel drive car, front wheel versus all-wheel. I mean,
what do they say?
It's all gonna
Daily
break
driver, turbo build.
Turbo
does that
issues
mean?
with big. I
Issues.
summarized.
turbo issues or
No, is there? Do
reliability issues?
you have daily driver issues with big turbos and big power cars? It depends. Again,
It's all what you put
If you do
into
big
it.
power on my 2-liter Evo,
Yeah.
you're going to have a car that's probably a great daily driver because it makes no power and it
Right.
just puts around town all day
It
long.
gets
and then
great fuel economy until
Yeah.
you go out of and throttle, but
So-
then once you do, you're gonna.
But then you start flirting with that line where you're making power
And
and
cylinder pressures are through the roof.
Yeah, it all depends.
We would have to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Really, I mean.
Vague question. A lot of vague questions.
Yeah.
But hopefully they gather something.
Here's another
from
vague
that.
one. Again, this completely depends on a lot of things. But how do you figure out the proper size AR for
Well,
a turbo you want to use?
Here, yeah, like I always tell people, like I ranted last time, you have to have your goal, and you have to size everything for your goal. And
Now,
the turbo AR comes into play. With
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Well, so that's also a question that we've addressed a lot too. If you're talking
When do you
turbine
want it to
housing
light?
AR,
How big is the turbine? The AR is a result
what-
of T4, T3, T4.
Exactly.
It's
Everybody
a
thinks
ratio.
it's like a
It's like
tire
a tire. If
it's
you
like
say
a
a
tire
35
size.
series, is it an 18 or a 20? Or a
Right, and even
15?
in those same sizes, they're all different by manufacturer.
Yeah.
So, on a little cliff note to that, though, we actually took at one point different housings and different ARs and filled them with sand to measure the volume.
Ah.
And an 8.2 T4 twin scroll versus an 8.2 T3 open scroll is a dramatically
And you wouldn't
different
think it
thing.
was much.
Right, so everybody kind of throws them all into the same classification, which it does not work that way. I mean, twin scroll, obviously way larger AR than an open scroll in most
So if it's an
applications.
82 open and
You
an
run a
82
101,
twin,
the
it's a
twin-
huge difference.
It's a massive difference.
Wow.
The divider wall.
So the
and
twin scroll is much larger area just basis of design.
There's a lot of wasted space in a twin scroll
Huh.
AR. I mean, I could go rip some things apart and bring them over here later if we want, but
Yeah.
we did that. We filled them with material and measured the volume of them versus using the actual AR rating.
I think the biggest thing with this is when people buy eBay turbos for like the LS projects,
That's a
like I always
reference
sell,
for them.
people say, I have a 50 millimeter whatever AR, and it means
Right.
almost nothing. What?
I was just telling you, look there a lot. That was one of the things comments from the first video.
What? Oh,
They don't
yeah,
Talk to
yeah.
them.
Anyway.
They don't like you guys making eye contact.
But because people will look at like tiny turbos and they're like, I have a 96 AR. You go, what turbo do you have? And they go, I got a 96 AR. And you go, damn, is that like 120 millimeter pro
Is it
mod?
on a GT28 versus a 42?
Yeah,
R?
the AR is just it's a
Yeah.
ratio.
We need a
of
frame size reference, I think.
Yeah,
Is-
we could maybe grab some of those later and go back to that. But that's like
There's a really junky BMW motor that's been sitting around here for a while that we could actually yank the eBay turbo off.
You've probably been through 5 cars the whole time that's been sitting there.
yeah, probably 6, 7
I'll
cars.
check with Mark, but I don't think he
3
mind us.
different kits for each car too.
Yeah.
So it's a multiplier.
Yeah, that's
a can of worms question.
I think it's going to be tough
It's
for the next one. Is going to be how do you narrow down these questions into something that people get a legitimate
So
response.
here's a good 80.
It's tough
an
because
80
you
pounder
have to
question.
have a big understanding about turbo,
Yeah.
the area, the turbine, how everything works, and then the AR is a relation of all of that math. It's the area of the inside of the exhaust housing doesn't have any relation to the turbine. And some turbines have a larger exducer and inducer, and some are flat, and yeah, that gets ridiculous.
It's
You
like
just-
taking 2 different 2-liter engines and having dramatically different compression ratios.
Basically,
They're-
we'll cross off the thing that says AR and say, how do you pick proper turbo size?
There you go.
And that's pick a turbo to meet your goals.
pound per minute is a decent reference.
Yeah, pick a turbo to meet.
horsepower.
If you want to make 600 horsepower, get a 600 horsepower turbo,
Yep.
etc. Yeah.
So here's another 80 pounder question, and it was I tried using the injector data from the wiki page, but couldn't get it to quit surging at idle. There's a little more details about.
Well,
I mean,
that could be more than just
it was
an
probably
injector
yeah.
issue.
The issue there is it was probably running fine, air fuel and injector sizing was okay, but the tune was incorrect.
Or idle stepper problems.
Stepper motor, timing issues. You have vacuum leaks. I mean, you have to look into all of that stuff too. And if the car is completely untuned and you're loading a tune from another vehicle, even if it starts and runs, that means you're pretty fucking close. But everything else needs work.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I recommend people do is run cars in open loop when they're initially scaling things and watch target AFR if they can.
Yeah.
Or just that could be a car cycling through fuel trims, you know.
I mean,
and
and this is,
up and down.
and then they still don't mention if they're using like Mega Squirt or HP tuners,
Right,
and then
right.
each one has totally different.
controls. And
The biggest issue is a lot of people buy Micro Squirt because it's cheap and it's entry level. It's like $300 for the ECU. It doesn't have idle air control at all. They hook it up to a motor that does have idle air control. They don't fill the IAC motor and manually
Right, and
set
just
their
run the
idle.
base
Then they have
idle.
idle issues because the
Right.
idle air control motor is open and doing stupid shit the whole time. And then we tell them that they have to fill it with like liquid nail, and then they're like, "Why do I do?
Right.
Why do I do that?"
And why did you ask?
So the next 2 questions are related, and I'm going to ask them even though they've been asked a million times. But I kind of want you
Cool.
to
Yeah, let's go.
a little off the deep end there as you sip in a little liquid hero. So
Can't wait
why are rod bolts aren't necessary in builds, and why do you not use BOVs?
Well, you
and
always
also,
need rod bolts or the rods won't stay on the crank.
Okay,
That's a great
That's
answer.
a good cocky
You
answer. That's
always
good.
need rod
That's
bolts.
good.
I'm sure they're referencing why
Are you-
don't you exchange stock rod bolts for ARP rod bolts for a significant cost with no effective gain.
And whenever you
Can
do
we
reuse
create
them,
a calculator that you input a dumb question and it outputs a proper one? Like
sure.
this plus this
Could write some
equals-
algorithms.
I can try.
Any of you guys do coding or anything? No.
There's
fucking
another
worth.
group over here.
Do you understand the question enough to rephrase it for us?
And then for those who
so-
asked about you reusing rod bolts, what are you?
The only
I mean,
reason-
this is a huge division between sloppy and CBRD. This is the greatest thing ever. Because
Because you guys overdo
You,
it.
you can explain
can.
yourself a little
You know,
bit as
for
to
us,
what
we're-
CBRD is.
yeah,
by
I
the
mean,
way,
we're
too.
being-
I'll sit back a little bit here.
well, we're being
Let's
held.
check
We're held liable for everything because everybody's coming to us with a complete turnkey solution.
All these
Yeah, I
cars
explain
are
that to
here.
people. I'm like, I have no warranty, and I
Yeah.
don't care, and I don't have a
Yeah,
reputation
it's
to lose.
2 different things, and I think that's where the respect comes from, and with us and sloppy is you guys.
We get to roll off.
Yeah,
cuff.
well, it's simplicity is key when it comes to this stuff. So I think you guys push the boundaries of can you reuse something? Well, how do we find out?
reuse it,
And we
until
avoid
it
that
breaks.
liability. So
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, it's a great question. We won't reuse anything like that, but I mean, we're building customer cars and shipping them out, where I
Yeah.
think you guys, you do a lot of your own projects and you have stuff brought to you that people put
Totally
together.
different
So
market,
it's 2
sure.
totally different
Yeah.
things, but that's actually
You're
really
paying
good. That's
him
probably the best question.
to build a track day car that you're going to floor for 2 hours.
Right.
Do you want him to tell you he reused
Yeah.
reused everything in your car that may or may not be unsafe? But for what I do is like burnouts and drag racing, and
Head gaskets
I gotta
and
say,
heads
we've
and-
never gone nines with a zip tie throttle cable. So you guys are kind of, if we had a chalkboard in the
We're
background, I feel
pioneering.
like that gives you a couple of hash points.
Oh yeah,
that was the day we were here.
Scoring.
that we have not
That
done.
was the day we came by here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
should do
went
that for the
9.6.
next one.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I was
went
like, check out my
11.7.
throttle cable. It's all
Yeah.
black zip ties.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt was already like in the Porto John using the restroom when you were
Oh,
still
we had
finishing
two
your
different
pass.
38s gates on that car, and Mark was like, "Oh fuck, what's wrong? If you
Yeah.
you could do something like this and make
I wish
more
I could have
power."
shown that guy the motor with 2 different heads, completely different cylinder
That's
heads,
fantastic.
chamber size,
Like,
valve size.
have you done that on
everything was
purpose?
different.
Like set up a V with a different turbo and different wastegate and different everything on 2 different banks based on.
Not yet. I would love to do that,
That
but
is
all
a
of my
fan-
friends.
How about you do a bank and we do a bank?
Okay,
Oh man,
on a twin turbo car.
Well, we gotta
or-
come up
If
with
it
a
doesn't
project
rip
for us
itself to
anyway.
pieces, then it ended up alright.
You guys
I
got to
feel
actually
like.
get a car. We got to
This
get a
is a-
car,
that-
Fox
we
body
have to do
Fairmont
that.
4G63 with like small
Or like-
planes
Yeah,
or
we're in
something.
charge of one side of the engine. You guys are in charge of the other. But whoever the guy was that couldn't get his 80-pound injectors to work right is not handling the fueling in my bank.
That guy's not doing the tuning for your side.
I would
okay.
rather First National do my injectors.
First National.
Okay, is
deal
there
with
any
my
car
bank.
that this goes to both of you because you've done a lot? Is there any car that you guys have built that you want back?
Oh, not really. I have no attachment to vehicles. No personal attachment at all.
I bought something back recently that I thought I would want something similar, and it was a horrible decision. So.
Yeah, I
Oh
can't.
wait, what was that?
I'm thinking.
You wanna talk about
we'll
that?
talk about this later. I don't
Okay.
want to ruin the sale. You guys
I'm
aren't going to put
thinking.
this up till like Thursday, right? Because it gets delivered on Wednesday.
Oh well, I can. You know,
it's all
time
good.
release.
You bought a few cars recently, so it's all good.
Yeah, no.
It's not a bad car. It's just
No, I think we all have a problem when we do this stuff. We're very impulsive people.
Nostalgia.
So yeah, we get caught up in certain things, but we're on to the next thing. As
well.
soon
Thank
as
God
we're
you
done
bought a
with the last.
$5,000 car instead of me buying a $45,000 car last time I went away for work.
Hey man, to each their own.
I mean, no, I don't want any vehicle back. I don't regret
I
selling
like
any
that
of them.
Fairmont or whatever you guys had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could build I feel like I learn more from building them, and I enjoy building them more than owning them. So that's why sometimes when I have a car that's issue free for a week, I'm like, I gotta get rid of this thing.
Or
I gotta build
try and
something
break
else.
something.
Or break
'cause-
something
yeah, 'cause
and then
I'm
work
bored
on
out
it.
of my mind.
Yeah, I enjoy like the figuring it out and the engineering aspect more than driving it. Even though I like doing burnouts and stuff, but
So the answer's not really.
I like whereas I hate to like mock people, but a lot of people sit on a project for 2-3 years and never see any of it or realize it or see what works. And I'll be like, I'll know what worked 4 times
Yeah.
over, and then I'll be like, well, next time I want to try to make it better. Next time I want to make it shittier. Next time I want to make it cheaper. Or next time I want to laugh about it.
I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not saying these questions are boring, but I gotta check my phone.
Okay, yeah.
The fuck?
Sorry. Thank
All right.
you.
He had
So,
to check.
This is. I'm going to keep you more engaged
That's
here with this
fine.
next question. It is, and this is a great question, by
Sure.
the way.
I thought that said cocksucker. It
why-
says crank sensor, doesn't it?
Yes, it's.
Everything Steve writes looks like
I will
cocksucker.
I
not.
write like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let my kids watch this.
So why are STIs always slower than Evos? I think that's a great question, and whoever submitted it is really. On
I think
point.
it's
a
a
matter
driver issue most of the time.
Well, everything is. Let's brass tacks, right? Super motors are completely inefficient. I mean, if you look at it that way, everybody goes, "Oh, Porsches are horizontally opposed," and then you go, "Hey, Porsches are dry sump. They hold 12 quarts of oil, and Subaru spins. They spin bearings. They hold 4 quarts of oil, and they just
oil pan's like this big.
Yeah, and the biggest thing about it is draw a line from the exhaust valve on an Evo motor to the turbine inlet. On most applications, it's no more than a foot, and draw a line from an exhaust valve on a Subaru motor.
Couple feet.
Yeah, you need a yardstick. So you lose so much exhaust energy and so much efficiency through the piping and the intake plenums and everything too. So
And they're wrapping it down into the car where it all cools off and.
yeah, and then you put an intercooler on top with a
On
chimney
top
out
of the
through the
hot
hood,
motor, the
right?
chimney.
So Amish people might be really good with Subarus because they make chimneys and like stoves and
Yeah,
stuff.
and they're good with horses.
Yeah, that's weird. We'll talk about that next time. No, I mean, we love Subarus in a weird, quirky way. I've had a couple of them, and it just takes a lot more time and energy and money to make
Yeah,
a
it seems
Subaru
like they're on the
equally
razor
fast.
edge of breaking the trans, the diff.
Yeah, unless you have an
the
STI
motor.
with the big 6-speed, you're gonna break everything.
Yeah,
And
their
their
drivetrain
transmissions are
is
split down the center on the WRXs, and they kill
So
themselves.
stupid. Yeah.
But
It's like having a
you know-
T5 from a Mustang. Like,
Yeah.
you put a decent amount of torque in the middle gear and it just comes apart and shears all the teeth off.
Eats itself.
And people are like, I got a G-force gear set. Well, your fucking transmission case flexes like a Coke can
Right.
under power. It doesn't
Doesn't
matter
matter
how hard
what you
your
put in
gears
it,
are.
you're not gonna
You're
keep
just
it where it's
grinding the
supposed to
ends
be.
together until they disappear at some
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I don't know. It's yeah, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
obviously, that's a funny question.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
But
we
that's
get it-
why STIs are worse, because they cost more,
Yes.
and it's harder to make it more effective
I
as
just
a
had
racing
the conversation
package.
the other day that,
Yeah,
that if
you
had
have
the
to
same amount of
invest
money in
twice
both
as much
cars-
up front.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to make your investment up front. You don't get to this limitation later. You're immediately okay. My rule of thumb for anybody out there with a 2.5 liter Subaru, which is most of them now, the direct inject motors.
Garbage.
Yeah, I asked Subaru about that in their recall and their TSP. But the 2.5 liter Subaru motor, if you are out of injector, you need to build your motor. Plain and simple. If you're out of a stock 500cc injector, you're at the power limit. If your car's put together well.
What a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So when somebody says, "Hey, I want to upgrade my turbo," I go, "Okay, to make the same power you're making now and have later spool, build the motor first." But you know, like guys like IAG, I mean, they're doing closed deck.
Sure.
Crazy 1,000 horsepower builds now, but it's very expensive. But
That's the thing. A lot
life
of
is
people-
good as a Subaru
You can
shop
always throw
if you
your
build
wallet at
engines.
shit.
A lot of people think
Yeah.
that I had this conversation with a guy the other day that you put 10 grand in both cars, they're gonna have the same. No.
Yeah, but what's nicer to drive? I got to be honest. I mean, the Subarus around town, they tend to be just a little nicer, softer, a little
complacent.
more. Yeah, they're a little more ergonomic. But if you want to make horsepower, it's the 4G63 or the 4B11, even in the new Evo 10s. It's a plain and simple choice.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I love
easy.
it. I love going and racing Dom 3 guys at Cecil.
Yeah.
And I'm out mile per hour in them.
Well, yeah, you put a 30R on
like
something
turbo.
like one of those that can't rev over 6,300, 6,400 because of oiling issues and oil pump issues, and you're making power from, and they're not efficient. So you think, hey, it's a 2.5 liter versus a 2 liter, it's going to spool quicker, but it doesn't because the exhaust energy is so poor. So you've just, it's almost
That's
like
funny for people with the cubes argument.
Yeah.
What's the cubes argument?
Cubic inches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because people are
Once
a lot of
again,
people
that's-
are like my buddy says everyone wants 6 liter, so they're like, I got 6 liter, I got torque.
Right, there's no replacement
Meanwhile,
for
they're getting
displacement.
Yep.
they're getting
except
destroyed by
boost.
5.3 guys because they spent $200 on a motor instead of $1,200 on a 6-valve.
Efficiency. That's all it is. All of this is efficiency.
All right.
We still love Subarus, but yeah, you got to spend a lot more.
You do. I don't.
That's the money equation, which it's all about economics, so that's why we laugh at you.
So Matt, would you ever do a Mega Squirt micro something on a 5.0? I don't know if it was an old 5.0, new 5.0. Would you ever do?
Yeah,
we-
which
we
a
have all
Coyote
LS
or a
stuff.
pushrod 5.0?
Is that like a weird
I mean,
request?
I've
You played with
done-
Ryan Gregory's forever.
Yeah, I mean, would I build one again? I mean, I would, but from a cost standpoint, they're not as great. What a lot of people don't understand is for like 10 years, me and my buddy, if you go back in my videos, all we did was
Talk about
do
that truck.
5-liter Ford stuff, and we got so tired of that bullshit, like splitting blocks down the center and doing other, just antiquated stuff. I think you have to know them a lot better. Like, I just jumped right to LS, and my buddy bought a Supra, and we totally quit on working with those, totally. But I mean, I would do it again. If you look at my other videos.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What is so? Is it like odd to do Mega Squirt on a 5 liter? Is there a better solution? Is that why that's fielded?
See, I don't
Well, it
know.
depends. It
I think
depends
they're
on
just
what
saying because I
5 liter
do
you're
so
talking
much Chevy stuff.
Okay.
But here's
got
the
it.
thing: I do a couple cars a year that are plug and play micro squirt 5-liter cars, all motor, turbo, supercharged. Like EFI Source sells a plug and play unit. See, because
So what would your preference be? I guess is my question. And based on this, somebody's building a 5 liter. They asked about Mega Squirt. I mean,
yeah, plug it right in. It's cheap. It's like $450 with the harness.
That would be your
You
choice?
unplug
Or
an
an old
A9L.
5.0.
if
Yeah,
it's your
old
car.
pushrod
The new
5.0.
5.0s, they can have HP tuners. The stock
Got ya.
ECU.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the
reflashing
stock
everything
computer
like.
kind of sucks though. I mean,
Sure, but at least it's something now. It used to be nothing.
yeah, it depends.
See,
Like,
that's interesting too, because for us, most of the stock ECUs and what we deal in every day are so sophisticated, we don't have to go to standalone.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
we
the,
can-
the
we
import
convert
game has
them.
been a long. Well,
Yeah, the
crazy.
Ford. Here's like some of the funny things. Like when you download a Coyote 5-liter stock ECU tune, there's like 26 timing tables and other like endless amounts of horse shit. It sucks. And then
It's just a
what
headache.
you command is not always what you get on ignition and stuff. And that's a big
Right.
issue when you have a turbo car and it's doing funny things with the ignition other than what you tell it to do. So I mean, this is a
What's funny-
largely open end.
If I can shove the fork back in the Subaru question, we deal with the same thing, and not to plug the guys because we're very low to them, but with Cobb and versus like open source tuning on a stock ECU, the Subarus are very intelligent ECUs. They like to. You start at
Lots of closed loop.
You start at a floor of timing, and it wants to add in its dynamic tables and add all that stuff in.
Oh.
And when you're tuning on a platform like Cobb live versus flashing something not live, you never really know where you stand. Am I through that learning period? Do I have to force it through that learning period, or can I just run the car
jam
live?
ignition in on me for no reason?
Yeah, exactly.
rod
Is it
in
gonna
mid-range.
add 2 degrees of timing? So
That's like a Coyote.
that makes sense. Okay.
And then here's the thing, I guess. Would I do a 5.0? I would entertain doing Coyote motors if they were cheaper. If someone gave me one, fuck sure, yeah. If someone gave me a $8,000 Coyote motor, I would turbo it because they're strong and they flow well, like an LS, like minimal amount of boost, cheap turbos. You can make a lot of power. But older 5.0, you can split the block really easily. So that's like the biggest issue with those is, I mean, for 10 years we just broke blocks down the middle so bad. They broke the
Right.
fucking oil pump, water pump, and everything in half.
Wow.
So a total waste of time. I'm so used to making on stock ECU 500, 600, 700 rear wheel
yeah,
through
your
an
brain
auto.
processes that as a headache.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if
versus being
you're
productive.
if my goals were low enough, or if I had to do, I mean, sure.
That wasn't a nice way to
It's
say
not
it.
a bad motor. I like how Fords sound.
Wait, hold on. When you were in high school, were they like, hey, set your goals low?
Oh,
the
My
biggest-
goals were low
The
enough.
biggest issue is with the older 5 liter. You have to do like the cork seal on the intake where the lifter and the
Yeah,
coolant's going through the intake. And see, LS, you're like, brr, 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 you like breeze the intake off, throw it in the corner
It's
of the
almost
room.
like we're arguing a 4G63 versus an EJ257.
Correct. See, that's dude, I've been
I mean,
saying
it
for
really
years
is
that
and
what
the
it is.
LS
antiquated
is 4G.
technology.
Yes, you can make it go fast. However, you have 10 times as many things to address
way
before
more
you
resistance.
get there.
Way more resistance.
That
and some
makes-
boxes you got to check.
I hope that in a roundabout 10-minute way answers your would I use a 5.0
Sure,
question
you might.
on Megasquirt. I mean, the plug and play for the pushrod older 5.0 is available. Call EFI Source. It's like $450. You load a base tune in it, and you can go turbo, and it'll put a 3-bar sensor on it, run 28 pounds
Good
of boost.
support and everything.
You ain't gonna make it there before the block splits apart, before your transmission
It
shatters.
would be
in half.
cool actually to have someone in future MS workshops, if this is successful and that keeps going, bring some Ford stuff and someone who's
Or
an
like the
expert.
wizard Tony Reiners runs a 351 Windsor with Chinese rods and goes like
Tony, come
mid
out
to
to,
low eights.
Tony,
on
come
a
out to
MS1,
Pennsylvania.
$150 ECU.
Yeah, awesome.
Tony will
But-
subsidize the cost of your flight. Come out
Yeah.
to PA. We'll seriously pay for part of your
You
flight.
cannot base your goals off of Tony Reiners.
No.
One of those
He's
deals.
a
It's like-
unicorn.
It's like Steve Stock
It's
Turbo
like
Evo.
Yeah.
what's that guy? Steve Mahovitz, the Coyote. He's like a modular motor guy.
Okay.
This modular motor guy flies.
It's like on another planet.
LS guys like buy a $300 motor and go nines,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, well, that all sucks because
So
this
he
Mahovitz guy
set the
goes
precedent,
so
and everybody
fast.
else thinks they should just
All the
be able to
modular guys
exceed
jump
it.
on his. What is my buddy
Right.
Cameron says? They hang their hat on his achievements.
Right.
Yeah.
No one else can do what he does, but everyone says it's easy because he does it.
There's
But he's
somebody
the one.
It's like every sport has that athlete that's
Yeah.
hand,
They're
head and
like,
shoulders
well,
above
what's his
everybody
name
else.
does it, so you can.
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong does it, so you can fucking pedal your way.
So he's injecting his car with
it doesn't-
illegal additives
It
in
all
it.
depends. Anyway,
All right,
next.
2 funny questions next. Can Sloppy Dino Day be moved to accommodate Subaru Boxer Festa or whatever the hell that is?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, the Boxer guys can
We
go.
could get sponsored by
I
Kitty
mean,
Litter.
why even have a dyno day for Subarus? They just hard park and they measure their camber.
Well,
Yeah,
so
let's be honest
that was a
about
great
that.
segue into the next question. Can I have stance at CBRD?
Like try to park and
Can CBRD
We
CBRD,
actually,
what do you do?
yeah, we're not big fans of that. We actually designed the entry to our back garage
to not
for-
accommodate stance cars.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a special lip to
we're
fuck
very
over
form
stance
follows
cars.
function.
The
So
last Lambo that drove through scraped coming in.
I'll
so
tell
that
you
was a
what.
great
No,
sign.
I'll tell you what. If somebody brings a stance car to the racetrack with more than 3 degrees of camber and airbags and goes quicker than one that we set up appropriately,
Ah, that's a good point. Then you'll accept them.
I'll have Liquid Hero give them a free beer because then it's no skin off my back either
Ah.
way.
Sure.
But the challenge is there if you'd like to present yourself.
Sure. No, don't get me wrong. There's some bad cars. I mean, there's some guys that like that kind of thing, but
Well, it's
fastback
cool. It's cool
cars,
if that's what you're
If
into.
it's a 65 Cadillac,
Sure.
okay. If it's a FRS, get the fuck out of here.
I'd probably airbag something with suicide doors.
Yeah, exactly. A Continental or
65,
something.
yeah.
You know,
exactly.
it's okay. I mean, I'm fine with everybody having their own passion, but have it because it's your passion, not because it's a trend.
Yeah,
I think that's really
that's
the.
exactly how I feel. Is a lot of those
Yeah.
guys
Don't
are
just do
doing
it for notoriety.
Well, just
stereotypes
do it
exist
because
for
you
a
love
reason,
it.
too.
show somebody else. You can
Yeah.
tell too.
Yep.
Just by the way they
So I
do
can
it.
Also,
res-
just do it to a car that already.
It's like
doesn't-
hating something. We're all car guys, so respect it for what it
Haters.
is. You don't have to love it, but
I got so
respect
many
it.
haters. It's because you're a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you because you're a fucking idiot.
Well, those guys that have the tires that are jammed up in between the. they also take 9 billion pictures of the car every day, and they.
How many pictures of your wheels can you take?
With oh, look at that gap or lack.
Just
thereof.
start,
like I said, I mean, if you're really into it, cool. But
just start putting on lipstick and tucking it and doing the "Goodbye Horses" song in front of the mirror like Buffalo Bill, instead of fucking taking pictures of your
I'm
wheels.
gonna tag myself out.
Oh man! All right.
What's the next question? So, bring your Subaru
materials.
to the Sloppy Dyno Day. You can run those for free.
Bring jack stands. We'll dyno your car.
Why do you look like a serial killer?
Oh, bearing material. Sorry.
Wait, who got that question?
Bearing material. They asked me, bearing material. I use stock bearings.
Hey man, the Unabomber thing was really good for advertising.
Yeah. 250,000 miles. I use stock bearings. I don't care. I never buy bearings. So no, sorry. What bearing material? Whatever stock bearings are, that's the material that I use.
Yeah.
I'm down with
I
that.
literally, I'll try to find the picture and put it in. He asked if I could overlay the picture. I have a box at home.
I picture you scratching away.
So there's an extended part to that question. What's your choice on bearing materials? Also, what are your thoughts on crank swapping?
Did it say
6.0
burp?
or
Was there a
6.0?
burp in
But
front?
yeah,
Burp.
it said please shit in your mouth.
And
then
punching the 5.3 to a 5.7 using stock brakes.
I'm not a fan of machining at all because I feel like 98% of machine shops are out to get your money and fuck you over. I bet you could drop off a block. Like I could take a motor that's running perfectly, like out of this Silverado, drop it off at a machine shop, and they would be like, "Man, you had so many issues. You brought it." Here's my favorite line.
We better
just in time.
Yeah.
You got this transmission to us just in time.
But you never saw that. There's a clock in there.
Yeah, and this was gonna blow immediately.
better
Even though
watch
he
out.
drove it every day and it would
Like
drive
an
fine.
Normally people
Like
call
an idiot
themselves,
fuck every
we
day.
talked about this earlier actually, most people call themselves problems building motors.
Absolutely. They take it to
Yeah.
their friend. He machines it. He
Well,
does
my
the
buddy-
deck
my
wrong.
buddy's a
He line hones it
machinist.
wrong.
Yeah.
Everything's wrong. Your motor is tragically. Even
Right.
for a professional shop, I think they struggle to make a reliable engine. I don't.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of. I mean, they're asking 606248 cranks and strokers. I think he means de-stroking.
what you guys go 9s and 8s on like junkyard parts.
Yeah, I think he's
the
asking
intelligent.
if we de-stroke motors and what my preference is. We've done it once or twice for fun because we had like a fucked LS1 and
Correct.
a fucked 4.8, and we put the 4.8 crank into the LS1 and we made it like a 311 instead of a 346.
Yeah, normally that's like a ha ha ha. Why don't we just
and then
mend
people,
these two things?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And it's not something we go because I think people once or twice they've done builds where people are like I de-stroked it and now I can rev the fuck out of it and make 200 more horsepower. No, none of that makes sense. You don't. I mean, people are funny where they have these things. Just leave it the fuck alone.
There's a lot of
and throw the turbo
There's a lot
on
of
it.
generalizations of
Yeah.
like bore, stroke, and did you stroke it? Did you overbore it? Because now you can rev higher, and it's just generalizations.
No, yeah. I mean, they're asking about strokers, but my favorite thing if you're going to build a motor is to build the 400. Like, don't cut the cylinder at all because there isn't much cylinder material between. Like, if you take a 6,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to build a stroker like a 400 or a
Right.
403.
So they're going to overbore and
It's
lose
a 4-inch
cylinder
bore
wall.
and like a 365 stroke, so they get a 4-inch stroker crank, and it's a 4x4, but they slightly bore the, they slightly bore it
You
because
just made everything fragile. pretty
there's
much.
tapering. Yeah, here's the issue. I mean, Nelson Race Engines goes into it at depth, but
Which their stuff's crazy.
you're pulling the piston out of the deck, and the skirt is dangling around on a stroker. So a lot of times you don't want to fucking touch it. But my favorite is like the 4x4, like a 403. But at the same time, you're having an issue because you have less cylinder head on contact with the deck, and you have issues. I mean, we've never lifted a head even with my buddy's car that went 7s, stock cylinder heads and everything else.
Stock bolts, everything.
But I mean, I hate when people go way too big, and then they make everything else fragile. They make the whole rotating assembly fragile for cubic inches.
Well, once again, you're just interjecting margin for error. I mean, simplicity
Yeah.
really is key.
Stop
it's that
fucking
whole
with everything.
Keep it stupid simple.
if you
keep
touch
it
40
simple,
things,
stupid.
you have 40 things you might have
Absolutely.
an issue with.
And we've made those mistakes too as a business growing. It's like you try and over-engineer stuff, and the reality is simpler it is, the easier it is to troubleshoot. Just like the guy with the injector question. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, if you're having idle surge issues,
Real
start
Street
somewhere
Performance did a video where they say new parts means never ever worked. So you gotta watch out for that too. If you have a motor, see, this is what
Yeah.
This is what I hate. People do this question all the time on Sloppy. They're like, I got a motor with 200,000 miles on it. I'm taking it apart and having my machine shop go over it. If it was running fine for 200,000 miles,
Leave that part alone.
Why are you touching it at all?
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Right.
Fucking don't touch it. Just put it in.
Well, I think
don't even take that.
People
are like,
have this miles thing, this thing that
I took apart that
stigma.
$250,000 mile
I
motor and it
expect,
looked beautiful.
How many miles will I get out of this? I mean, that's the most generic question.
Yeah,
we
you're
get all
gonna
the time.
blow it in 300 anyway. So
I've
why
had
spend
cars
all the
last.
machining costs?
Yeah, I mean, 100,000 miles at 700 wheel horsepower. I've had cars last 2 weeks at
It's a dice
400.
roll.
If somebody puts, no offense, like Rotella oil in something that's got a lot high ethanol content fuel. I mean, it takes something so simple to cause a disaster. So, man,
Look at my car, for example, my Evo. I've beaten the complete shit out of that car, probably arguably more than most of your customers, except maybe some of your road race customers.
Yeah, it gets nothing but thrashed. And
27
it's
pounds, over revving, left.
and it makes
everything's-
more power than almost anything, and it's
with even
class.
upgraded turbos. So
Yeah.
again, I never said go fuck with the motor. Let's go.
but it's done right all the time. It's taken care
Yeah.
of.
Leave
No,
things
it's-
alone. I totally agree with that. With the 5.3 that we pulled out of the junkyard. for the
People
top
get
car.
over ambitious. I mean, it's like stick with what works, ask the questions, get the right answers. I mean, the biggest thing again, and I can see where the problems come from. No offense to anybody watching, but they're not really good questions. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
asking.
I think it's because they're both
you're not
they're
getting-
all learning and they don't.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I mean, that's, but it's, and again, it's like
they're
not
not a very
offensive.
scientific question.
Right. I mean, and we
just
want to answer that
general,
way.
it's
Hey,
stupid.
let's give you the black and white, but they're very gray, so we have to answer in gray. But
Sure. Well, again, it's hard without writing a novel.
Hopefully they all-
sometimes to get
yeah.
into
and there's
some details.
and there really is. I mean, okay, let's be honest. There are dumb questions if people are stupid, but I mean,
well, there's also
ask
Maybe
questions.
they'll
Ask
hopefully
what-
learn to.
Yeah,
this is
don't
only
be
the second one, so hopefully they
Correct.
start.
Yeah, but don't
we
be
start
afraid
generating.
to ask something. I mean,
Ask something
really
difficult.
Right.
Some
I
of the
mean,
stuff I
we've
don't
made all
particularly
we've
up.
made all the mistakes and done.
Some of the stuff I'm
particular.
not bringing up though because it is going to be part of tuning stuff and it's super
Yeah.
detailed and I don't want to take away from everyone else by these connection issues. Or
I'm
different
gonna
things
come to
with-
the tuning class, by the way.
I think that'd be.
I think it'd be cool.
I think that'd be
I'd
cool
like
for
to
you to
learn
have
something about the
value.
LS stuff in particular. If you guys
Might
are
end
gonna
up
hit on
plugging
something.
my other, plugging the thing and then to give it more battery, but we'll get to that.
I can get another extension.
Nah, just this guy. I'll plug into it then while it's still rolling.
So I
It'll
think
keep
this was
rolling.
kind of just like the other Mustang. Do you ever plan on slapping a China turbo on something other than an LSX? I think Chad.
I mean, we have done that. I mean, we've done a turbo.
I mean, what's the China turbo thing? I mean, it's like, is this like everybody enamored with, hey, it's cheap, it works, or is it just like
I think a lot of them have
tag
a
that everybody's
fascination that
using
they
for
don't
stuff?
think they're reliable,
Right.
and they work fine.
I mean, most of the stuff, let's be honest, is coming from overseas anyway.
Yeah.
So
and half the
I
time they
think
get
a
to
lot
the
of
US,
people
they get
don't
balanced
real-
here. They
Yeah.
get
I don't
gone
think-
over
I
when
think
they
a
go
lot
don't
of
get me
people
wrong. I
don't
mean, we're
realize
hell bent
that.
on making stuff here and in house and so forth.
That's
but
you.
the way, right? It's like I almost want to start a brand
Sometimes
on
you
eBay
can't
that is
stay
actually
afloat
eBay
because
brand.
people all here's you want your quality margin here, but people want to pay here.
Right.
And if you want to fail your business, you can continue to do this, or
Okay.
you can try to meet
Right.
that.
Well, here's my
Well, it depends
thing.
on the
Like,
markets, too.
Yeah.
I can buy some of the parts we use, for instance, in the supermarket headers off of eBay, but I'm not going to buy a part off of eBay for my client because if I have an issue with it, I don't really have a place
They're
to go
going to
back
be like,
to.
oh, fucking Chad
That's a
Block.
But I can
Whole
buy that
totally
same
different
product through a manufacturer that I have support on. So, I mean, I can see, but it
That's
realistically.
why I tell people to buy stuff through VS Racing, because it's
Brand's
not
incredible.
some dude that's going to leave you hanging.
Oh,
Brand will
yeah.
support you. That's what
The Speed Factory guys.
VS
VRS Speed Factory.
No, VS
different.
Racing.
I was gonna say, 'cause
VRSF
we have
is
a bu-
different.
we, you know,
Texas.
we share the same
Different.
Speed
I
Factory.
always make the
Brand's
joke
the
that I
guy-
buy Chinese
Which they're
parts
cool guys,
from
too.
an Indian
Yeah,
man
They are.
in
They do
Texas
awesome stuff.
for American
VS
cars.
Racing's
So-
the guy with the GTR that's 2,000 plus horse. He supports
Yeah,
all
no,
stuff.
those like they're all good guys. And it's just a question, like, and it's a point I bring up because again, when people say China or eBay, it's like, you know, what are you really talking about? Because you can find anything on eBay.
A lot of them don't
Well,
realize
you know,
that
and you can-
manufacturing from everywhere is
Right.
from China.
Well,
So-
if you go on precision forums, everyone that types the word China is dogging it, yet their turbos blow up every fucking 3 months.
Yeah, so we don't have great luck.
But seriously, I mean, there is trash out there. Of course.
There is absolutely.
There's lots of
But I
trash
can also
out
say,
there.
you know, guys say, okay, a Garrett turbo is too expensive. Well, I can honestly say I've never ever, in our history, have a Garrett turbocharger fail. When I raced, we did. You know, we had motorsport turbos that failed, but we had them under extreme conditions that
Yes,
most
correct.
street cars, most even
Will never
road
come
course
close
cars
to.
or drag cars will never get close to with anti-lag and different stuff. But yeah, like you said, there's certain brands that we've seen nothing but problems with. But I just get a kick out of the whole China eBay thing because it's you can buy anything on eBay. I can sell you a Garrett turbo on
Well,
eBay.
I think there was a time where it was a completely valid
Is it an
concern,
eBay turbo?
right? Years ago, we're talking 10 years since then. There are companies
Yeah,
that
I
take
mean,
and mount and balance
It's like
these
buying
things here
knockoff
stateside.
wheels. I mean,
Correct.
you know, yeah, they might look the same, but they might cause the safety.
Another can of worms question. You know, That's all.
Yep.
There's so many
Sorry
answers.
for the tangent.
So
No,
there's
it's
a,
fine.
there's a
They'll
couple,
learn a lot from that. Hopefully.
There's a couple of questions on here, and I just wanted to sum it in one versus the other, and that's 4L80 versus TH400.
So-
there was a couple different ones based on ease of tuning, obviously with the 80E being
Oh
electronic.
yeah,
I can't
that's a
contribute
big.
to this
That's
at
a
all.
big. Well, here's the thing: is TH400's 3-speed.
What do you need here?
I'm just gonna cheers because we're not gonna add
Yeah.
value.
3-speed,
It's always good to be told
non-lockup
we can't add
TH400
value.
versus a electronic TH400 overdrive with lockup capability.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is it's funny. Like it all depends on your goals, and then the issue is people when they have a 4L80E, they're like, well, now I have to spend money on management to shift my ADE, to lock up my ADE, or I have to spend money to.
Is that a sophisticated system, or is that something fairly simple?
It's not. It's very simple. It's just some solenoids. It's 2 solenoids that change a fluid path inside internally to shift the gears.
Got ya.
And then there's a lockup thing, which it's a valve that applies
So
lockup.
it's almost like a hydraulic control.
Yeah, it's solenoids that control a hydraulic valve body, just like a TH400. I mean, the biggest thing is if you want to drive your car a lot, I would say there's no reason not to go ADE. It's cheaper to build an ADE a lot of times because you can get a $100 to $400 ADE from the junkyard. Put a $120 Transgo kit in it, and you have like a $500 tranny with overdrive, and it'll do a lockup, everything.
Yeah.
And then like you can buy a good converter for a grand that does lockup under wide open throttle power, like 1,000+ horsepower, and you can lock the fucking thing in high gear, and you have no loss,
Right.
like no slip.
Right, sure.
But then sometimes you can buy a TH400 for like $300 with a converter, and it'll be fine for you. It all depends on your goals.
To each their own. And
you're
when you come
building
into,
a-
if you come into something where hey man, I'm not using this, and you can take that, and I'm
400,
going to
it's
spend
more,
another
it's-
$200.
Yeah, it's more difficult to get a TH400 to do like shift on its own, to just build a
Right.
drive valve body. You put in high and it shifts on its own. Sometimes it won't always downshift or upshift when you want. Sometimes it's fully manual and it's reverse, and you
And
have to
then-
do it.
So it's all about anything else. It's like when you start your build, it's about
Application.
establishing
What are you gonna
expectations
do?
and where you're going to go
And
from
depending
here.
on the car, the 4L80 is different than the TH400
I like-
based on size.
Right.
And
What
that
are,
tunnel,
what are
too.
my long-term goals, and is this a good?
I
fit
like
for
both.
that?
because but
can make both
but it
work.
depends on what you're building.
If you have an 80 made it to a 6.0 and you love HP tuners and you like stock ECU,
Yeah,
then
stock
great, then
ECU
keep
will
that
control that
4L80.
ADE so well.
Keep that 4L80.
It was designed, that ECU was designed to run that engine, that
Yep.
transmission.
So you have continuity through everything.
What a lot of people, I guess they don't realize,
Right.
is my 960 car had a stock computer, a 5.3, an ADE. I
car
literally,
yourself.
I foot braked it up to like 3 Gs. I let off the brake and I put the gas
And that
pedal
was
to the
it.
floor.
Yep.
9.6
at 145.
tagged all the gears for me. No problem. I mean, I had a lock-up torque converter in
You
there,
sound
but
like
I
that
didn't
old
even
pole
lock it.
position game. Where you just,
That's it.
It's like
Yeah,
the same
literally,
sound
like-
3 times. It just
I mean,
started.
it's-
Yeah.
It was accelerating. You
worked.
just had to keep it straight.
Right.
Other than that, see, it depends. Like, it's nice.
But see, everybody always. But the problem you run into, though, in relation to what you're talking about, is a lot of people try and reinvent the wheel, or they want to do something that.
And that's fine. Just
To
don't
say
ask
they
60
did something.
questions about it. Just
Right.
fucking do it and tell us
Right.
how it
If you're
works.
gonna
then.
ask, then listen,
That's
or
my.
just
I
don't.
hate that part about it.
And if you don't listen, just don't come back.
I hate when they ask and then they don't want to do what you tell them to do. Why
That's like
ask?
any-
Or they have a
advice.
problem and they want you to field their
Just
questions.
do it and then tell me how it works.
Right. No, we get that a lot. It's like you're not there to void the warranty either. So like, just give us the information, let us help. So.
All right, so
They're
one-
both great. Teach Ron, whatever you can get.
I mean, if you're
cheapest
watching
to
this,
attain
you're
your goal.
looking for an answer. You're
It's
looking for
economic.
help. So
I always see it as an economic thing. I have a hard time spending money on stuff when I can reach my
Path
goal
of
for
least
less.
resistance.
So
that's
if,
the sloppy business model. I mean, altogether.
if I have
mean, that's-
$400 and someone's going to sell me a TH400 and a converter for $400, and I have a simple project, and someone I cannot find an ADE for whatever reason for $100 in the junkyard, I'll just buy the 400 and bolt it in.
And
Call
be
it a
done.
day.
And you have a little less, like I said, control capability from a stock ECU perspective. Who fucking cares then? Right? You're conceding that when you're making that conscious decision.
Yeah, what a lot of people, they just love to be spoon-fed and they don't have goals for themselves.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest issue is make the vehicle do what you want it to.
Again, it's all
I have
expectations
a
and
great
it's all
segue
long-term
into spoon
plans.
feeding.
I'm not
Well,
sure you
should
had a
we
great
go next
segue.
question?
man.
What
Wait.
cam? Or that was a great segue into spoon feeding, I should say. What size cam, gear, stall, and turbo should I use?
For
To meet your goals. We're done with that.
'Kay.
Fuck that question. Fuck that question, honestly. Seriously.
Now,
Just
this is a
build the
serious-
car.
I feel like- I mean, I'd
build
be-
the car to do what you want.
I feel like you need to email that person a checklist.
We could. I
How
have an
about
LS1.
How about
What should I do?
Like,
Here's
let
what-
them- let that
PayPal
person
me
respond and
$300 and I'll answer
Let
every
that
fucking
person
question.
respond with more information, and then maybe address that on the next episode.
Put,
but that's just like
put 588 gears in it and put a totally stock camshaft in it and then buy $600 valve springs for no fucking reason just to do it. And then how much? What turbo? Buy the smallest turbo you can find on eBay, which is like a
Actually,
GT15
just
for
get
like a
used
scooter.
Evo, just
sounds
get a used
great.
Evo 9
Put a
turbo.
scooter turbo on it, and
Speaking
you're
of
done.
scooter
I don't even know what
turbos,
motor you have.
Speaking,
What
can I segue
We're-
this with you have a Grom, right?
yeah,
All right, we're gonna turbocharge
Put a turbo
that.
for a
I just
Grom.
want you to know that.
yeah.
You're gonna tune it?
I have a Megasquirt
It's
running
already-
on it already.
Okay, so drop
Fully
that
tunable.
off. Drop that off when I get back, and
Okay.
we're gonna work. We are.
We need to get a bigger injector for it. You got ones laying around?
Yeah, I have tons of stuff, and I
Okay.
have a turbo for it.
I'll
so
drop it off.
that will be.
I can't wait to show them all the stuff that you have here.
We'll
We're gonna do that.
Yeah, you should show them the
How
stuff
much
that's right
power?
behind
What's
you.
it
'Cause I don't
making
think
now?
they've seen the car behind
What's
you
the
yet.
Grom making now? I feel
Because
like
there's
I
this
haven't
car.
dynoed it stock yet. I got to.
There's this car here. I don't think they saw the
There's
whole
a bullshit
video.
McLaren behind me. It's got turbos and stuff. It sounds cool. He revved it for me.
Yeah.
I sat in it and I immediately felt like I couldn't afford the seat that I sat in. Other than
Don't worry,
that,
the rental car company will be back later to get
other
it.
than that, it's really cool.
We'll show you all the other rental cars.
I'd
that
love
are
to
here, too.
drive it, and I'd love to know how much power and how much boost and what the inlet temps are like and
Well,
what the
holy
commanded
fuck!
air
How about that
fuel is.
stock Porsche new 911? That fucking
Be honest
hammered
though,
down
you sit in for
600
a second,
fucking
you're like,
horsepower.
this might be fun to tinker with.
Absolutely, I would
Yeah,
love to
that's-
tune it.
that's kinda
I'd love
where
to
I
put a
come from.
$300 standalone on it and
But
floor
dude, how
it.
about that fucking Porsche?
Well, I might have to get one then. We
That
can do
Porsche
that with
pounded
it.
out some power,
That black
didn't it? The
Porsche
other
hammered
day.
down 600 wheel on this fucking dyno.
620
And
torque.
it was like
Holy
stock.
fuck!
like
exhaust
stock.
system, headers.
tune.
And it's like, yeah, that's like a mostly stock.
Shout out
It's
to Cobb
cold.
too on that though, because they gave us the software that was seamless.
That thing was that
You
thing
didn't do a
was
tune on
fucking
it.
ripped.
You didn't dyno it totally stock and then get to do the.
No,
before
we
and
haven't
after.
had it already had headers and stuff on it, so I don't
But it was
consider a
almost totally stock.
baseline.
I made 6 and change all wheel, like fucking
Stupid.
nuts.
Yeah, I mean hot parts right from the turbo out,
That's
and
nuts.
That's nuts.
and it was nuts. It was
It has like a turbo back and a tune and a
it was like an
filter.
electric roller coaster.
It has like a K&N on it and a tune,
Yeah.
and it makes like 6 and change all wheel.
Anyway,
Yeah,
here's a-
That's
ridiculous.
disgusting.
Ridiculous.
There's a PDK too.
Yes.
Probably fast as fuck.
10-second
retarded.
car probably on pump
You're like,
gas.
Oh my
dude,
God, oh
you
yeah.
could drink a milkshake and fucking
That thing a
wax
mile
on
per hour, like
everything.
134, like nothing.
Amazing
Yeah.
car though.
Those are cool. I love Porsches. A lot of people may not know that, but I love
A lot of people
Porsches.
don't know. A lot of people assume they know you, and it's
I
hilarious
love
how they
Porsches.
assume. Yeah.
Great car. I used to think Porsche owners were douchebags. But majority of them are like really.
They're actually because they're into
love
what they
racing
have.
and they love.
They go to the
Porsche.
track.
Yeah.
They don't just wear
And the
matching
cars are
shirts and
mules. I
whack.
used to think they were sensitive, but the cars are workhorses. They're nuts.
Especially the old air cooled stuff.
You beat the shit
mean,
out of it.
They're so inefficient yet they did
They
well.
might not know. My buddy
But-
owns Dow Porsche,
Well,
and my other friend owns JPC Fab.
Okay.
They do roll cages and build motors and floor Porsches.
well, the other
all
thing they
day.
have going for them is most of their stuff is dry sump. I mean, when you dry sump something, you have an education on oiling systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the
And-
valve,
and less issues.
Yeah, the rings don't just have to have pressure here; they equalize this way. Yeah, oh, I'm just gonna throw a catch can on it. That'll fix all of it. And I want to rev the. Wait, I don't know. What do you rev an LS2? If you're crazy,
6,000,
7. If you're
7,000.
nuts, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. So we'll find out with
A lot of
Dustin's
the
car.
LS
If he's-
motors are quitting
Dustin,
the
drop your car
6,000
off
range.
sometime, and when you're not around, and we'll figure out what they rev.
Yeah, Dustin, we can certainly drive your car for you.
Anyway, what was the
It
question?
needs to get
what's-
driven a little harder
Did
than when
we
you
even-
drive it anyway.
What was the question? I don't even
Okay.
remember.
Anyway, it was what size cam gear stall.
Oh,
turbo
yeah,
valve,
fuck
what
that
thing.
guy.
So
That's
again,
why we
let
couldn't
him give
remember.
him a chance on the next,
Reser-
installment. Let
reser-
him put some more information.
Redeem yourself.
And
Ask a better question.
like I said,
if
it's all
that was an
generalized.
unfulfilling
Ask
answer,
that. Listen, ask that to Google. You may get a good answer.
ask a better fucking.
You may
question.
actually get a good answer. Actually.
Oh my
asking that
god.
to Google.
Gear it so
Anyway,
it does 15 fucking miles an hour,
Listen, I don't want to spend any more time on this.
and put
guy.
your thumb in your
Listen,
ass.
So, meth or E85, both of y'all have different experiences.
What are you
with
saying?
that.
I didn't hear you.
What's more
Meth-
prominent in your area? Use it.
meth or E, and why?
If ethanol is good in your area and the
Oh,
percentage
if you have access
is
to
good,
E, I mean E all day long. Though.
yeah. And
Well,
then the issue
let's
is
talk
if you
about
don't
that.
run the car a lot, there's corrosion issues and other.
Yeah, let's talk about E.
But meth systems
Straight
to me
E
have
for
been the
years.
most unreliable, like octane,
Oh, our first
NOx
disagreement.
suppression
Let's talk about
additive
this.
Yeah, it
that
depends.
that I've ever seen.
He
I
loves
mean,
meth
most of the
systems.
things that had holes in them that came through my shop are because, oh well, I had this fail safe and I had to,
I
the
think a
level
lot of people
indicator.
overdo there.
They over-engineered. I agree with that.
People
but-
buy a $600 meth kit when they should have bought a fucking $200 one with a Hobbs switch.
Okay, so like an Aquamist kit, awesome capability, amazing. You can do so much stuff with it, but most people cannot even put that
They can't
together
set
and make
it
it
up.
work. So
And they blow their shit up.
Snow, I did stuff with them. I mean, it
Or they
does
spray
work.
too much, and it's changing their fuel drastically. And then when that system doesn't
Sure.
work because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, it blows the car up. So then they go, methanol is bullshit. Same with ethanol.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's almost like it's like the presidency right now, the race. It's like choose your poison. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, there's no good solution, but
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever your tuner's comfortable with, whatever's
or just
common in
choose,
your area.
or just do things right and run
Just do
pump
it.
gas.
Just choose one of them correctly.
Just run pump gas and put all the right
That
parts
depends
on.
on application. Let's get real about E. I mean, we
Sure.
ran pump gas on my car,
It's
and I
corrosive
took it,
as hell.
I took it to 11s, and it was hammered. And I wanted to stretch my current parts even more than what they were currently doing. Right, my Evo went 11.9 all day.
But we
on
took
pump
a set of
gas.
injectors over not even a course of a year,
And
and
the
they were
car was
26% variance between those injectors.
Correct.
It would ruin the injectors.
I ran
Yeah.
E85
Oh, by the way,
straight for 2 years.
Precision is we're fine with their injectors, but
The ethanol was fucking up the injector.
The customer service is a little bit different.
But I missed
But
the.
their injector service, yeah. But I mean, their injectors are fine. But no, seriously,
That caused a lot of
No,
things that
Matt,
we
I don't know.
didn't know.
I just I'm not a methanol person. I mean, for us, I'm kind of like a pump gas guy. You know, let's optimize, and that's the CBRD
That's how I am
sloppy
too.
thing. But
It's because if you're driving around, you're actually fucking driving your car. You're actually putting pump gas in it, and you're
Yeah.
not. How much was left in it is another one of those.
and if you're on
questions
it
we
all
get
the time, you're using all that meth, and how much volume of the meth are you gonna have, and how much you're gonna have to put in, or using windshield washer fluid, or using heat,
You actually
know,
using
all that stuff.
alcohol.
So
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and then there's the variance between water is a better thing for dissipating
Right, heat,
Alcohol
however you
raises
need.
octane. If you
Right.
don't have a temperature problem, you should be using more alcohol.
Right.
But then there's a big issue. If you get over 50% alcohol, you have flammable shit in your engine bay and
Yep.
non-fuel
Well, and then
safe
I mean, how many
lines.
nozzles do you have? Are you using it for NOx suppression? Use it for octane raising? Where are you
Yeah,
injecting it? What
can of
pressure? What
fucking-
nozzle do
can
you
of
have?
worms.
And how does it come on as
Why are you
progressive?
using
Is
this?
it?
Why are you wanting to do this? What is your driver? Are you unsure of your own
I guess-
capabilities?
Are you dealing with a
margin of
detonation
error?
I guess a
problem?
lot
I
of
mean,
people-
is an intercooler issue? Because that's an
Yeah.
easy fix. I mean, hey,
Sure.
put a good intercooler on the car, or you know.
Now we can expand on that a little bit. There's a lot of guys on here that are using trash,
intercooler cores?
but they're working, right?
Well, it's mass.
eBay.
Mass is mass.
But you have gone through extensive intercooler
Oh,
R&D.
we've made everything work.
And a small.
But you've come
package
across a lot of
fit in the
different
Evo
things
front
that-
end and-
Yeah, it's mass. I mean, intercoolers are mass, and it's airflow exposure, just like the Mercedes we just did for Emery. So it's
Yeah.
it's heat exposure, it's air exposure, it's heat exchange, and you know, most people don't look at that stuff properly. They just go, "Hey, I need an intercooler. I'm going to buy this core. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And the biggest misconception, I'm sorry, all across the board I see is, you know, you put a big intercooler on a car, you make it thicker, it doesn't do anything. I mean, you're just blocking radiators. You're doing stuff. It's
The efficiency
surface
aspect is totally different.
It is
math.
surface exposure. It's the amount of time in the tubes. It's not thickness. That doesn't do
No.
anything except make a car overheat. That's my opinion, but
Oh, I mean, that totally makes sense. I think the other issue is that people think that when I say pump gas meth, like when I tune a car on pump gas meth,
well, I mean,
they think that
E85
I'm
could be considered
stretching my
pump if you have it at
legs.
the pump, I guess.
Yeah, I think that a lot of them presume that I am forcing the car past what it would make on pump, which in reality I'm not. I'm like I use the wording. I use
Shameless Liquid Hero plug.
shameless.
Yeah, give me just the tip.
They gave us free beers.
It is just the tip. It's the
I don't know if I should say that, but they gave us free beers.
Juice Love.
Look at this, is
Yeah.
great too. Yeah, this is nice. It's green.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They're
fine,
helping
thank
you
you.
learn something.
I
Look at
tune
it
a
that
car
way.
as I would on pump gas, and then I add
Brandon, you wanna
the methanol injection system with just washer
You
fluid
wanna-
Yeah.
for cheap insurance in case the gas is shitty that time.
Okay,
stays
let's
on
do
or
this.
the
Let's have a
American
little. Let's
So
have
if
a
my
little training
meth kit,
session.
if my meth kit failed, it would be fine still.
I'm with you. Okay, so where do you go first? Let's do this. I'm gonna ask you a question that makes sense. So, Matt, you install a meth kit on a car, and let's just say it's whatever it is. You're using VP meth, meth injection. So you're
Straight
using
meth, 100%.
Got you.
Okay.
So, right, exactly. So,
Instead of washer.
instead of the heat and
I
those
wanna add
de-icers you spray in your locks. So, where do you go first? As a tuner, I'm a tuner also. 2 O's,
Yeah.
no U's in mine.
TOON.
Right.
Tune.
So where do you go first? Do you go to timing? Do you go to mixture? Where do you go to capitalize on alcohol injection, on meth injection?
Well, normally I would set it up. It's a Hobbs switch, just on off, simple shit. Because I think people overcomplicate it again. They buy a $600 progressive bullshit shit.
I'm running 20 pounds. I bring it at 12.
Yeah, I turn on if I always say to people, I like to run the Hobbs switch for cheap insurance, and I like to run it over 14 pounds. So I turn it on at like 10, and I just have the Hobbs switch just nail on wide open. And then what I do is normally the kit would be set up to work while I tune the car.
Yeah.
So I'll tune the car with it turning on. But if we add the kit later,
But
while
do you
the meth-
start on okay? Do you
It
start
would-
on you
fuel.
start on just regular fuel and then you turn the meth
tiny
kit
bit
on,
of
or do
fuel
you,
out if the meth is slamming in tons of fuel up top.
everybody pay attention? While Steve was gone, we actually got into a topic that might answer some questions. Let's be honest.
Very fitting.
Let's be honest.
I don't have a whole lot of value these
Yeah,
days.
and then what I would do is I would put in the normal pump gas amount of timing I would use, just because again I use the methanol kit as cheap insurance, and then also the side effect of that is it keeps you don't have to open, because people always ask, do I open the motor, do I open the ring gap, do I open whatever?
You don't do anything.
I don't have to touch any of that with methanol because it keeps the rings and pistons and combustion and EGT and everything else down. So that makes the rest of it super simple. Whereas stretching that limit on pump gas is very hard because you do have to pay attention.
Yeah,
to all
well,
that
that's
shit.
we get pinned as being conservative. CBRD is conservative,
Oh yeah, they're not. You know,
but
it's not going to
it's
go
not-
fast, but you're not going to wreck anyone's shit.
Right, we're not going to be
But
great.
that's
Well,
where
conservative is
when I tune
11
someone
is
else's
11
car,
sevens on a stock
that's where
turbo.
I like to be.
I
When it's
like-
not mine, see, I blew up my truck twice
Right.
in like 2 months,
But
it's
it's
because
your
I'm running
truck.
straight
But that's
pump
the-
700 wheel through an unlocked 80E on my dyno, which I hate even saying it because people race dynos. My dyno is more conservative than most people because I have frequently.
Well,
I
yours
mean, I
too.
got a Mustang.
We're
now,
gonna
so-
know when the V goes on here. We're gonna know finally.
We are going to disperse the.
Him and I are going to
disclaimer.
race dynos. My
We're gonna
buddy
do a
Area
video.
1320 and I have raced dynos. He has an all-wheel drive Mustang dyno,
Yeah.
similar to yours, twin roller, and I made 10%
Let's
less.
knock it out in the same day.
10%.
I think that's a good thing. We'll do a video, time lapse video, right? Here in the morning, sloppy in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Could do that.
Let's do it.
But I'm tired of, because what I really hate, what winds me up is people are like, or I hate to like even point out 1320 video, but they interview people and they say the car makes 1400 horsepower and the fucking thing traps like it makes 750.
Yep,
So
that's
where's
it.
that?
That's 90% of
Where
everything.
And
double the fucking
we had-
horsepower is
This is the opposite.
gone.
We had that happen recently.
And then
here,
we
I
have a
mean.
car that
This
makes
is the opposite
480
here.
and it traps huge, and people are like, "Well, you're a liar."
So you
No,
have-
the other people that say it makes double are fucking lying.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I tell people we treat our dyno as a tuning calibration tool, not a measuring stick. But
Yeah.
as a company, you're drawn into that. You're drawn into the marketing. You're drawn into
People
the
want a number.
400 wheel horsepower kit here, and somebody else says, "Oh, well, we made 500." Well,
we make
that just
480.
happened the other day. I mean, we our kits that make 410, 420, 430 here made 500 on a
Another.
very well-known big high elite company's dyno. I cannot make 500 here on that turbo
No way.
kit. I don't
Well,
care
you could,
whether
you
I put
could change some.
if I
But
yeah,
that's my
if I
point
tamper
being-
with the dyno,
Yeah.
maybe, but like, you know, as a company that does things and is consistent because we need to know where we stand with our own products and what we develop, you know, I could put Matt behind the laptop. I can put, you know, 10 different people, Mitch McKee, you know, one of the best guys I know behind the laptop. Anybody I put behind there, you're not going to make 500 on this dyno.
You're gonna hurt
I
the
wish,
motor.
I darn wish you could.
That's the point.
If you could make 500 on that turbo kit here on my dyno when I made 400, you'd be wearing a CBRD shirt, not EFI source. You know, I mean, you'd be on payroll. So
Yeah.
it's an ongoing argument. It's a ridiculous
That's-
thing,
that's
but
the whole
it's
point.
yeah.
Race-
I
I mean,
gotta
don't
see
race
some-
dynos. My
I gotta
one
see
friend
some-
Trent made a famous comment one day. Don't race dynos.
it's tough, but you face it
result.
as a company, and you face the marketing and the uphill. You know, if I did this all over again, what would I buy? I'd buy a dyno jet. You know, but
'Cause it
I love
throws
my
down
it throws down
Hey,
what the
In
industry.
some experience,
Hey.
anyway, mine doesn't do it, but everyone else's. People are always like, well, you know, take 200 horsepower off your dyno pole
Yeah.
because dyno jet's
Okay,
so high.
let's
Not
say
true,
this.
not
Let's say
true.
this. Say my dyno reads 10% lower than yours.
Yeah.
And you show up here on a, you know, 90-degree day, and you make 300 wheel horsepower. And you wait until the end of the summer and the fall, and you go to the dyno jet on a 10-degree day, or you come here on a 10-degree day.
Same for mine.
Temperature. I mean, on a
Oh, yeah.
turbocharged car.
You've
I
seen
mean,
my car. How many
I've had
times
the
even-
exact same. My own car that made 550 in 50 degrees make 498 on my dyno at 100 degrees. I mean, there's so many variables, but
It's
you
just
know,
like when you go to the track and the DA changes within
Oh
3
my God.
hours.
DA
and
is
you're-
huge.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that too. Density altitude. Sometimes people are running an outrageous number.
Right.
They have mine shaft air, which a lot of people don't understand that acronym or statement or like play on words. Mine shaft air means like your density altitude. The lower it is, the faster the car is going to go. The air is denser. Obviously, the higher in elevation you go, you have less air. So in Colorado, you're going to run slow as fuck.
Yeah.
And then
And you're gonna have
sea
to run more
level at
boost to
ACLO,
compensate and do
yeah,
everything
you're gonna
else,
make.
yeah.
I mean, it's
I have a
all
client
numbers
moving to
game.
Colorado, and he said, "Hey, you know what should we doing?" Like,
That's why we usually
that's a
say
big
Colorado.
change. That
Yeah, it's a huge
and he has
change.
a Subaru, so
So if you go to
he's
the
gonna be running
track,
13 threes.
if you go to
Yes.
the track one day, and your car runs consistent, it runs 13.0 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the funny part of that equation is your car runs 13.0 at 2,000 DA
Mm-hmm.
plus 2,000 elevation. Density altitude is like all the math mixed into your altitude. Say your actual altitude at Atco Raceway is 120 feet, but the air is so goddamn good that your DA, your calculated altitude, is negative 2,000 feet. You're gonna fly. You're gonna go way, way, way faster. So you might go to a track that's actually like Death Valley, below sea level, but the DA sucks. It's 7,000.
3,000
for temperature reasons, humidity. Who the fuck knows? Your car's gonna run slow as fuck, even though you were below sea level.
Yeah. And forced induction, I mean, it skews everything too. I mean, because you have
forced induction's all motor is not as susceptible.
Whatever's going on outside, everybody says, do you run your weather station or dyno? I run it for logging purposes. I don't run it for horsepower calculation correction because what goes in that air filter pre-turbo is not what makes it in that throttle body. Sure. I mean, I'm taking that air in, I'm heating it up, I'm cooling it back down, I'm compressing it, I'm doing all this stuff. NA's a little different, but it's still, it's such a dramatic thing.
It's hard to skew. Like I always say, like when I dyno someone's turbo car, this is one of my favorite things. You don't probably experience this because you don't allow people in your dyno bay, but I'll dyno pull someone's car and it'll make 610. I'll dyno pull it again, it'll make 605. They'll be like, where did that 5 horsepower go?
Right.
Where did that 5 horsepower go?
It's under the.
And I'm like, it's an automatic turbo car. If it makes anywhere between 20 wheel, it's fucking pretty close. Like my truck yesterday, I think I made 20 some dyno pulls, and all of them were over 600 wheel, and a lot of them were around 12 pounds.
If you can stay within, at that power level, you stay within 20, that's amazing.
A lot of people don't realize that, and they're like, dude, you stole that 5 horsepower from
I had
me.
a customer mad at me because he came in the wintertime with not much done, came back in the summer, had more done, and made the same power.
That's
it has to be at the same time. Like that's like you
Variables.
said, it's a tuning tool.
Right.
Like when I'm tuning a car, if I put a degree in it and it makes 25 rear wheel, and I put a pound in it and it makes 25 rear wheel, at that time that was a good decision. But like I run into people every now and then that do like I dynoed here on a Mustang dyno, I dynoed here on a Land C, I dynoed here on a hub dyno.
June and September.
Dynocom, and then I came over, and I'm like, man, you can't do that.
Meanwhile, it's hailing outside.
Yeah.
You'll be back here in 2 weeks, it'll be 74 degrees.
Think about this. Think about my car, right? When you were there, when we went, and you ran 9.6 and I went 11.7 at 120 and a half. And you go, holy fuck, dude, your stock turbo Evo just went 120 and a half. It goes 117 like clockwork. It doesn't do 120 all the time.
It must have been a good DA.
DA was fucking perfect.
It
And
was
that's
a good DA.
120.6 miles an hour. The car you tuned for 5, it went 120.6.
Conservative.
No reason, it just belted out.
And
on
that was my
120.
point from earlier. You conservatively tuned my car, and I whoop
Conservative
ass
is
on
we don't break
460
stuff.
horsepower.
I mean,
conservative is I'm not trying to blow your shit up.
Yeah, I can't do that.
If you want me to blow your shit up, I'll blow your shit up.
Back
It's
to the
easy
dyno
to
thing.
blow.
And everybody says that too.
It's easy to blow a stock bottom end motor. I'll just put 36 degrees in it, and we'll floor it, and then you can count your pistons.
I mean, you can throw boost at it all day, but you throw timing at it, and you're melding things. And
make your
breaking
power
things.
with boost as long as your temperature.
So that'll be a good segue into the next topic, since we just spent a whole lot of time on this one. But the point of dynos and I go and meet. Well, there's more than that. That's where I got to writing.
Yeah.
But my car goes and makes 370. Well, now it makes 373. Made 385, and I go and out
which
miles
is an
per hour.
anomaly, but that's fine.
Subarus that make 460 from wherever other companies I'm not going to talk about, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
So against the conservative thing,
500
people have a
horsepower
perception.
Subaru trapping 116.
They don't understand what they're actually talking about.
Is it like an upside down hockey stick that it's that peaky, or are they flat out fucking lying,
or is
the
the
driver
dyno?
suck really bad? Who knows?
Sure.
Because here's the funny thing: Evans Tuning.
Yeah, they do a lot of Honda stuff.
He lives right near me, and I've had my car there, and it makes within 10 horsepower of his hub dyno.
No kidding.
It's very close. Him and mine.
Those guys are decent guys. from what I hear.
My car, my Turbo D series car, made like 290, and then on his it made 303.
But what's the torque curve look like versus the dyno jet? Is it more dramatic? Is it more an
we'd have
uphill?
to honestly, we'd have to overlay them.
Do that for me. I would like to see that because
the hub dyno can load mine. Now here's the funny thing.
It's a load ramp rate.
Mine's
I think,
unloaded and his is loaded.
Right.
Because he can hit his and he sets a ramp, and my Turbo Civic was like, whoa.
Because I almost bought a hub dyno, and look at the torque ramp rate. I'd like to see what the curve looks like.
I actually don't even know what brand he has, but it's very close.
It's
to
a
my
Dynojet. I think.
Because people say my Dynojet reads.
And most Dynapacks read high. I would love to see the curve from the Dynapack versus your Dynojet.
He has realistic settings because he's not ridiculous.
Well, we had a car here though, an S2000 that made 5 something there, made like 440 here.
Yeah.
But
I classically see the 10% less on a Mustang dyno.
But the curve is like dramatically different. I feel like it's the like you said, a Dynojet versus a Mustang. We have a load-based dyno, so the torque and the ramp rate and everything changes. So I'd be curious to see
a lot of things, because people sometimes also say on my buddy owns an engine dyno, MCRP, Mike Hirschio Racing Products, and I'd love to put like a Turbo 5.3 on that dyno because I know what they make to the tire all the time.
It'd be killer to have a back-to-back.
Because the
engine
flywheel versus
chassis
rear wheel,
dyno.
and I'd love to start putting stuff on his dyno, just because of that basis, and then on top of that, yeah, just see like what the numbers game is.
I would love to see that too.
Because I know it's a totally stock 5.3 with a stock cam in it, and I'd love the dyno at all motor with manifolds because they make like 250 all day, and to see what that would make flywheel is a huge thing.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that too.
Because through a 60E, 80E, whatever.
Well,
they
in
make,
this industry, you don't see many engine
Direct
dyno numbers. I
comparison.
mean, you don't see any of that, and nobody understands. Everybody goes, "Oh, I'm supposed
they
to be
just
making
overstated
this."
rear wheel numbers, in my opinion,
Right.
no matter what, just to sell you shit.
Engine dyno numbers are something that I think is for B2B rather than
I've
B2C,
always assumed,
right?
Well, it's like we were running a spec series where we were racing each other, and engine dyno is the only way to go because people are going to be changing bearings and tires and stickiness and pressures and all that stuff affects things. But
a lot of it affects to the tire, but like if you use a,
I mean, trans fluid will affect wheel horsepower.
high guard, John Deere high guard
Wood
versus
chips.
ATF.
I mean,
versus,
wood chips.
And I think you really appreciate that, and I think we can get into that either at the end of this video or
There's a
another
lot of
video.
gaming you can
His,
do.
I think he's telling us we talk too much.
no, not at all. I think,
No.
but I'm thinking
People like
where
it.
your background,
Honestly, all I've learned is the more we talk, people like it more.
Good.
where you come from, is a completely different place that he comes from your
Absolutely.
racing
It's
history.
cool,
and
yeah,
your
the difference.
increments of millimeters and pounds and ounces and when I make
Yeah,
fun of the
you
gold
build like
tape
time
and mark,
attack cars or
there's
cars you'd be flooring for two. Like,
Le Mans,
almost like
there's
Le
things that
Mans.
you're regulating.
I mean,
24
all this
hour
LS
race.
Megasport stuff sounds easy. $400 where to
Super
start building
easy,
this
dude.
stuff.
It is awesome.
You got to change your whole
That's why I
business
do
model.
it because it's awesome.
I mean, I'm gonna have a U-line, but who makes your rod bearings? U-line. No, that's the box it's in. I mean, that's where you get yours, right?
Amazon makes my rod bearings,
Right,
bro.
so-
It's in an Amazon box in my.
No,
phone.
I think there's some merit to we're gonna build an LS and we'll do one bank, you do the other. And
I think that'd be great.
That'd be so cool to see like a.
that would
shit
be a good hub
manifold
dyno competition.
with a
Will it
90
split?
on it and the turbo, and yours has like a.
All
like a
those
beautiful
Are you kidding,
sweeping
dude?
manifold
glorious
with a
welds
transition.
versus
It,
booger
it would
shit
turn
fucking
into an
welds.
ego competition. I would
We'll
have
take a
my
picture
stuff
over
blown
here of
over to
this-
his bank, and he would confetti blowing out of his waist.
That'd be
too.
cool. I would. That's a great
Let's
idea.
do-
I'm gonna
let's do
put my
another-
exhaust facing the turbo on your side.
We have to exchange like half the into my intake.
Yeah. Into the inlet of your turbo. I'm gonna
All right, I
dump-
got you.
I'm gonna shit into your inlet.
On next week's. All right,
That'd be
ready?
cool to do on
If
an
I could
engine
crack
dyno.
knuckles, I'd be.
I was earlier.
Yeah,
I
all
think
right,
I'm out.
good. What do we got now?
Oh,
All
I
right,
got
so,
one.
another
there's
Subaru
two cool.
question?
There's more, but there's two cool ones. So, one longest burnout you've ever done. Obviously, Matt's done.
I don't even know if you do burnouts for fun. I don't know if that's your thing.
Well, I used to drive some front-wheel drive Volkswagens back in the day, and let me tell you,
You've seen those videos of dudes holding the A pillars, fucking woo.
Hey, you want to talk about
be able
front-wheel
to
drive
track down
burnouts?
some.
I'm the guy with the front wheel
Yeah.
drive
I might be able to
burnouts.
track down some VHS footage of some funny stuff,
VHS.
but nothing that would set any world records.
Yeah, he's. I don't know. If that's
Other than the
his thing.
Aussies, yours are pretty cool.
Like over 1,000 feet. I don't know if I ever measured or gave a fuck.
I wouldn't measure by that. I mean, have you gone nines on a zip tie? And I feel like
Yeah.
I can't compete with that. I'm telling you, that's twice in one. That's so
I mean, pretty far.
Pretty
like as
far.
long as I have
Threw
road.
the cabbage at my engagement
good. Have
party.
you ever
at
had
my
to
wedding
engage
party.
the brakes before your burnout was terminated?
It depends on the car. Here's the thing, because I'm a burnout connoisseur. If there's a swale in the road and you have a lot
Right.
of aggressive angle,
Well, like my parents' house.
if I might break, it depends on the car. If the car's laggy, I
Right,
might break
right.
it.
You
I
actually
might brake
ride that
sand it
radius and-
until it lights, and then I can just drive it. And if it's a car that has decent traction, I can pedal enough traction to keep the angle I want, and that depends on the swale. The swale in the road, for those of you, because a lot of you seem totally stupid in some of these questions. There's a swale they pave into the road so the water runs off correctly. And if you're doing a burnout on the right side of the road, your car will go right, the rear end. And if that's a heavy swale, your car will go aggressively.
You guys, when you were kids, you ever go to like those driving schools where you rode big wheels and there was like stop signs
No,
and stuff?
never. No. This is your racing development years.
I come from
We
Newark,
never had it.
So,
Pennsylvania.
I'm gonna put that
Safety
on pause.
school.
Put
I
that
feel
on
like
pause.
everybody
Burnout.
gets asked.
We'll come back to burnout.
The next
Needs to go through
question. The
safety
next question
school.
is about that, but I do want to talk about the swale and the angle and the degree because Matt gave me a
feel like
great
we should all
wedding
be
present,
sailing.
and that was a burnout in the Silverado, in the 2500 Silverado, where
Yeah.
he goes, "Hey Steve, I'm gonna give you this wedding present at your wedding picnic at
Yeah.
your parents' house, and I'm gonna fucking
My
burn out
2500.
off the side of the road through the cabbage that Nella
Up
likes
into
to
the
say,
grass.
up in the grass, and fucking stayed in it, up
Rooster
over the
tailing
horizon."
dirt. Off
That
into the
was,
horizon.
It was
yeah.
incredible. So he didn't even break, and he was burning through his fucking soccer field like an ass face.
Yeah, like a total dipshit.
Total dipshit. Rob's
Yeah.
in the car, I think, or something dumb.
It was just you and me. I took him earlier. And then I
I'm gonna
took
hang
him
out with
and
the
me.
camera while you guys work stuff
Yeah,
out.
show him your shirt.
It was incredible.
Which one? Yokohama. That's what we did.
So next question: how did you
Go
guys
ahead.
get into cars and racing when you were younger? So that's why I wanted to play into the big wheel stuff.
Well, that's interesting for me too.
So it's
we'll
interesting
go-
for you,
we'll
but
go
it's
left
super
to right.
interesting for him. So this is
How did
where
I get
people
into
to know
cars?
you.
I had an old man that was into cars. That's probably the simplest thing, and he struggled early on to have the finances to get into cars. So I think once he did, he went bonkers, and that was when I was impressionable, right?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 years old. So that's kind of how it lit the fire for me. And
And then what
Here
did
we
you do?
are.
I mean, obviously, I know what you did after that, but just to give.
I
some
raced
of
big
these
wheels.
guys-
I raced bikes. I raced go karts. I got into LMS, American Le Mans Series, and Grand Am, and all that stuff. But
That's what you started was driving,
yeah, I mean,
and now you own the business.
well,
where you do
yeah, it was
building.
it was all about efficiency. I think is what was intriguing to me. And we had Garrett Turbo. We worked with those guys. We had like neat stuff that now is just coming to the market and all that stuff. But yeah, it was in it's just seeded in me early on, I guess,
Yeah.
and I'm sure all of
Yeah.
us are. I mean, really,
Yeah, well,
it's
somewhat.
a very impulsive personality type that we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how.
Hey, I bought this fucking Lincoln douchebag car.
Yeah.
Mercury fucking stupid
Yeah, how
car
are you
the
doing
other day.
today? I bought a $600
It's like you're
Grand
standing there,
Marquis.
yeah, you're in the line at Walmart and there's a pack of guns.
I bought a
Not that
car
pack of
in
gum,
case I
but-
get mad enough one day to run it into somebody. I have a car to do that.
I'm gonna
with.
hit you, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna back
I'm gonna
into
hit
someone
you.
at 40 miles an hour.
I'm gonna
Don't
hit
hit
you.
that. McLaren doesn't belong to
Exactly.
hit you with it.
CBRD.
A lot of people might. I mean, from our.
So how'd you get into it? Let's.
Well, honestly, like I wasn't into car. Here's my funny thing: is people don't realize I wasn't into cars really much at all in high school until like
02?
maybe the very end of
He
high
was
school.
only into Unibombing.
03?
Yeah, Unibomb.
He was into Unibombing. He was in
02,
that.
03.
Yeah, I graduated.
You would
in
think
03.
he would look like he was
Yeah.
back in high school. For the people who
It's
don't
funny.
know, Matt.
It's funny. Like, I guess.
I feel like you and I should get sponsored by the Dollar Razor Club.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Steve, look at him.
I just shaved today. I had that whole
Dapper.
same thing going on. Don't
I
fucking
don't
say
even
that
wanna-
word.
All right, go ahead,
Take that
seriously.
fucking R8 the fuck out of here.
We're gonna bleep your word dapper in this edit.
Did I say Dapper?
Yeah, you did say dapper, and I said it now as proxy. But I guess I wasn't
proxy
into
out
it
of
much.
this
My
conversation.
dad, I guess, was always into cars. He loved cars. I saw that. But the funny thing is like my dad liked things to be nice, so I wasn't allowed to touch stuff. So that may be what spawned why I destroy everything.
Sure.
Because he wants to make everything nice. So now I just want to destroy everything. And a lot of times he's like, let's fix the dents in your
Yeah,
Colorado.
but destroying is like you draw the line and you go, don't go past that line, or I have to, deviate and go and do that. Like that's like the rod bolt question.
Yeah, exactly.
That blew up, so there's my line.
Sure, it's not blatant, ignorant destruction. Well, it is with.
So why do you do?
Sometimes.
Okay,
It is
let me,
with the
let me ask
Regal,
this
it is
question.
with-
Why do you do it now? So I know as a business owner, everybody goes, "Oh, why do you?" I need to feed my kids. I need to do this. This is what I
Yeah.
do for a living. Why do you do it? I mean, you obviously have
Fun.
an IT job.
It's fun. That's what I was gonna say. Early on, I liked computers and I liked technology and I liked electronics. And I took that. I went to an LTRIC course or a LCTI or VOTech or whatever you want to call it. And I did electronics and a lot of stuff in computers. And I got into computers and I started doing computers with my job. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking touch computers when I'm done with the day. Like I'm so fucking tired of like.
It's my headache. It's my
People
job.
are like, "Can you fix my laptop?" And you're like, "Fuck no, get the fuck out of here! I
Right,
hate your
right.
fucking laptop. I hate you." So like, it became my vent. So that's why I like to keep it fun, and that's one of the reasons why people pester me all day long about, "Call me. I need you to tune this. I want you to do this." It's not my living. I don't care. I can ignore all of you. I vet my customers now to the point where I'm like, you have to be realistic. I have to kind of
I
like
have
you
a
as a
life.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to sacrifice my time, honestly, to work on your stuff.
Well, it's got to be fun for you.
Well,
And
it's
I
funny 'cause
understand
we
that I
deal
have
with
to
the whole-
marry.
gotta keep the
I have
we
to
deal with the
basically
whole
marry your
e-tuning
vehicle.
thing, so it's
Yeah, I have to marry your vehicle because if anything happens, you're gonna be like, Matt, why is my
I mean,
car
exactly
doing this
why.
today?
That's
So
the
most
misconception.
people-
Is
I put
everybody
water
just,
in my gas tank instead of fuel, and now it's fucked up.
I
Matt,
mean,
what
everybody just
happened?
think it's like 1 + 2 + 3 = 4. I mean, 5 and 6, and it's like they think just
it's-
add things together, but it's not really. I mean, everything. Everybody individualizes all the stuff that we're talking about. I mean, they put their own twist on it.
Yeah, I have to find someone that has the same.
I go back to
mindset,
that 80-pound
goals.
injector question. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, like injector scaling, I understand that's something you key into the software, right? And I do it all
It's
day long.
not the most difficult
But-
part of your equation. why
Right,
you
but you can
ask
add
me.
3 other parts and buffer that with injector scaling. I mean, it is, as a tuner, you have to adapt and you have to deal with all that stuff. As an IT guy,
And a professional might do it a totally different way than I do.
fortunately, we don't have any of those here.
I just do what fucking works.
Except for
So
Steve.
someone might be like, that guy's answer is fucking retarded.
Mm-hmm.
He's an idiot, and that's fine. They can think I'm an idiot. I don't care. It doesn't bother me because I don't sell anything. I don't have anything to sell. I don't have
But
anything
that's
to
the
prove.
point of why I guarantee. I think over the years, 50% of people have been like, Matt, you should open your own shop. Matt,
No
you should do your
fucking
own
way,
builds."
I don't wanna do
Fuck,
that.
Well, you don't wanna deal with
Here's the
people.
thing.
No way,
Y'all
no.
think you want Matt to do your builds? Oh, I have a
Put Matt in my position, nobody would love Matt.
You don't fucking want him
Yeah.
to do your thing.
Put Matt in here every day. Nobody would love Matt. We can do like a.
Sure.
I mean, we can do a trading places like
That
Eddie
would be
Murphy
funny
and
as shit.
Dan Aykroyd, and I'll
Like
go
like an undercover
like a
boss.
hospital or something. I'll do IT work all day long.
You can work on the you can work on the
That's
server.
exactly why I did the tuning.
C
thing.
semicolon front slash dir hyphen p and pause my directory.
That'd be funny. It'd be great to see what that. That's
But
exactly why I did the
but
tuning
we'll
thing.
go into
I
it.
feel like you would do better than I would. Do.
I got into cars. My dad was into cars. He fuel injected like. He bought an '84 Chevy van in '88 and put an '86
I'm
IROC
so
fuel
pissed
injected
he
motor in
fucking
it.
sold that thing.
10 years
That's
before
awesome.
Dude,
GM
you had
did
to
it.
see this
when are
thing.
you
No
gonna do
one,
that again?
everyone told him it wouldn't work. It was
You had to see this
bullshit.
thing.
It's gotta
And he
come full
put
circle.
250,000 miles on
It's gotta
a
come full
TPI
circle.
motor
just sold
from
it
a
2 years ago.
Trans Am. Like he had AC and everything in this
TPI,
van.
weren't they like junk
Yeah,
motors?
they're
the TPI
junk, but
motors?
that's in '86. That was the fucking shit.
Right, that was
it
the
was
move,
injected.
right,
It was
right.
great.
What else was going on in
People had
86?
carburetors that
Look,
were
you guys
bogging
don't
and
have to get
wouldn't
hostile.
run.
I'm simply asking questions.
But
When we-
anyway,
when we
that's how I
started
got
this,
into
I'm
cars.
pretty sure I was like adamant about. I don't know anything about this LS, Firebird, TPI, TPM,
Yeah.
TPS
Now you
reports,
know.
any of this crap.
Now you know.
Lumber. I don't
Now
know
you
anything
know.
about this.
Now you
But I'm just
know.
asking. So,
Now you know too much.
are you going to bring it full circle and do it yourself? Put some TPS report into a wagon van.
Yeah.
Again.
The alcohol is clearly having an effect.
Here's what would be funny is if we take a Subaru.
Liquid Hero didn't contribute anything.
I've been telling
to
my
this
wife
conversation except
continually that I want to
chaos.
buy a $600 Forester and put a 5.3 and a 60E in it. Make it rear wheel only. Put the intake Mad Max and shit out of the hood and just drive it in fields only.
Oh, you
But I
want
think
Mad
it'd be
Max
funnier
that
to
shit?
put a small block in it with a carburetor and rev it until it like fucking backfires out of fuel out of the fucking carburetor. I mean that might be full circle kind of thing. But I guess the whole sloppy aspect is that it's funny, like my dad contributed in like not a hostile way, but he wouldn't let me touch it because I would do a shit job because I'm like I have no finesse.
So it gave you that.
As
I
a human
need
being,
to-
I have no finesse. I am a
It drove
hammer.
the opposite.
Well, it's like putting a sign up that says "Don't touch." Everybody's gonna.
So now I do terrible things that work. You know, when he would have
do you shock
accepted.
yourself?
Function
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
complete.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like
fast
you
action.
must
Sometimes when I built that, like everyone always posts that picture of that hot side that I built for Fairmont 3 with the
it's
4.8.
incredible.
It's
I showed you years
90s
ago.
and it's fucking
there's
flux core
boogers
welded.
everywhere. There's
And then the
literally-
wastegate's a total afterthought,
it-
like under here. That car went 1070 on a foot brake.
I mean, that's
taper
the
head gaskets,
respect
like,
between I think our two different genres or what we do is like I'm blown out of my mind
yeah,
by the
it's
simplicity and
bullshit.
by like and I see
And I laugh that it's bullshit, and then people are like, "That'll never work."
That's
and I'm like,
become
"It
memes
works every
from
time."
other people
It's
being funny
fantastic.
and dogging people.
So
It
I
works
was
every
super
day.
excited on April 1st to see that you guys took over the Ford GT program. I just want to let you know because I
Oh.
have some racing background, right? So I know like the Chip Ganassi.
You saw
also.
that?
It's fantastic.
Brian
You guys
Lowndes
took-
article.
Yeah, I mean,
That
by
was really-
this time next year, you will have won the 24 Hours Daytona with Ford's GT program.
Matt
And I'm
allowed
really
you to take
excited
over
for
the
with
you
an
guys.
marketing
iron
and the business
LM7
aspect.
Yes,
5.3.
absolutely.
You have taught me so many things over the years. The branding, it's really become a
How much
huge
time have you
thing.
spent like learning that what we tell you is not even remotely
No, that's
accurate?
what's cool. I guess we can tie that into my entire IT background is self-taught, and I've never had really schooling. Honestly, I went straight into the workforce because of school-to-work programming through Votech.
So you're really self-taught.
Yeah, I don't know even why I went
And
to school actually.
it's
because
cool. It's cool because I go to work with people that have been taught,
teach our youth.
and they have a separate mindset. And sometimes they love when I jump in, and I help them because I wasn't like tainted by the schooling kind of
Right.
theory of thought.
weren't corrupted by that
I'm like,
whole-
why don't we just fuck it all up and see what happens? And they're like, wow, that's the fastest way to the
I
finish.
hope the Chinese government is watching this. They already wanted to kill our dollar. Now
But
they're
like,
gonna kill all
but
of
that's the
us.
same approach. I have that same IT, information technology, healthcare, diagnosis, troubleshooting aspect for vehicles. Because every now and then I'll run into a trouble with a vehicle. Well, you can't do this. I'm like, something's fucked up. I'm gonna pound it until it breaks and find what breaks. Fuck it, I don't care. I'll blow this whole fucking thing up.
Right.
Where he has like a customer car, which is a Porsche, and he can't
can't do
blow
anything,
a $200,000 Porsche up just because he was frustrated. Whereas if I'm mad one day, I can just knock the fucking rods out of my car and laugh.
And I think that's cool that you guys can appreciate the flip side.
Well, that's been since the beginning.
Yeah,
mean,
I think a lot of people
like I said,
don't
I'm
understand
fully
that.
enamored with everything that Sloppy does, and
I like
the Fairmont
over
parked
excessive,
out back.
and then I like to fact check it.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "That's so fucking simple. It's retarded."
I just want to let you know my bank will probably do better than your bank.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. But no, I mean that's exactly.
Well, then
what
we'll
this-
do. And then here's the thing: we can do. Who makes
Can we,
better?
can we
who
cut
makes
the car in
better
half?
power?
Can we cut the car in half and make it do a pass?
No,
on
no,
each
no.
side?
We'll do an economical thing. We'll say how much money did you spend,
Oh man.
and then we'll and I will see.
Hey, Brandon, do you have your credit card? Oh, he's sponsoring my half.
At
of
the point, at some point, I'm good at arguing. I don't like to argue, but I'm good at arguing, and I'm. People have said I'm fairly witty.
It's not arguing if you're accurate. I mean, it's like.
But here's the thing: you would be
Making
like,
a
my
stand.
side did better. I made 5 more horsepower everywhere, and I would be like, I spent a
But if
quarter
I
of
spent
your
17
budget.
grand and you spent $1,200
That's what I
bucks.
say. I spent a quarter of your
Yeah, I
budget.
lose
Who
miserably.
won? He won for the numbers game,
But considering the input,
and that's
You're
why
right,
that's how I
absolutely.
build cars. So people say, "What do you buy? A 4L80 or a TH400?" Well, if you live in a part of the country that dudes are selling TH400s out of their cars for fucking pennies that work,
So it would almost have to be like we split a V, but then we take like a 4G63 and I get 2 cylinders, you get 2, but they're probably split. And we'd make it twin scroll. and
yeah.
Who's
you know more.
on the next
Should we do
episode.
EGT? Should we do individual tuning on a
Cylinder
4-cylinder inline,
compensations.
and then do EGT measurements? So whoever has EGT,
And all of a sudden,
out
like you
through
get a
the
hold of
roof
it and
loses.
the crank trigger wheels.
So I'll
bent
just do
weird.
straight distilled water injection. My EGT numbers will be lower, and I'll
Right.
win. I don't.
Right. These are all things.
that'll be
These
fun.
are these are good questions, and that all came out just.
It's hard, it's tough because I think it's over the range of people. See, I think I forget sometimes. I think I'm a moron and I think I don't know much. But then I have 10 years of like dyno tuning experience.
Well,
and a
that's the
lot
whole
of-
thing.
I think
I think the
professionally.
key, honestly, is I mean I think people need to, and they don't want to because they don't want to feel stupid. They need to ask, excuse me, guys, more specific questions. And
Yeah, get a little bit
I mean,
more in there. Who
might get
cares?
funny with it, right? Might get smart ass, but you're gonna
Yeah,
get
sure.
really good
At least,
content back.
at least if you're
I mean, I asked a lot of questions today.
And
if
seriously,
you're
I think
putting
there's
a
a lot
lot
of guys
more
that-
into
that-
that question, at least I'll know where I think you're coming
right,
from
they're-
instead of
it's going to
being
engage
lost.
you a little bit.
Sure.
You're not
Instead
just
of
gonna
being
go, well,
what
that's
spark
stupid.
plug.
I mean,
Well, what are you
what cam
doing
and
with
turbo
it?
should I run? Well, I mean, come on, like.
That's a ridiculous question.
I get questions on sloppy mechanics because I do admin pending for everything.
deny the
because
fuck out of all of them.
Otherwise, people just ask.
It's fucking ridiculous
People
the
are
amount
like-
of things I deny every day.
People are like, "What gas should I put on my
Steve's still
car?"
here, you know
and you're
that,
like,
right?
"Ugh." But yeah, you get
You
to
wanna
a
go
point where you're like, here's the
Play some
thing.
fizz.
If someone asks what I deem as a retarded question, but they have a paragraph asking a retarded question, I okay it.
Right.
Because it's just
They've invested their details.
they
in-
took their time. They didn't just go,
Sure.
yo, bro, LT1 spark plugs. What the fuck does yo, bro, LT1 spark plugs
Put yourself
mean?
out there, learn something.
If you have
ask
LT1, you
questions.
should probably commit suicide. First of all, you should probably kill yourself.
I don't know anything about any of that.
Bottom line, though, if you
terrible.
guys have specific tuning questions related to even
Yeah, I mean,
GTR,
I'll handle the small
Subaru,
like
Evo
sport
stuff.
compact
This
stuff.
could be a recurring thing where we
I
come
think
back a year
I-
from
here's-
now.
here's
Well,
the
can we
funny-
like hashtag it with something
Here's-
like sport compact
here-
questions and like?
Yeah.
No, I'm being
Yeah. No, we should do that. People should
Listen, if
People
you want a
should
hashtag, I'm
mark
gonna punch
it.
you in the teeth.
hashtag something so I can answer it and Matt can answer it.
I don't know what
So
a
if it's
hashtag
like
is. I know what a pound
Matt.
sign is.
number sign
Matt
word,
dash.
Steve.
Here's
Matt
the- here's
dash
the
or
funny
Chad
thing.
dash, and
I-
we'll answer them accordingly. It's like, hey, if I'm running a 2-liter,
I think you have a good point here.
Yeah.
I still want to punch you in the mouth, but I think you have a good point here.
Let's preface this an hour and 22 in and say
American Ninja
the
episode.
next video will probably be filmed at a brewery.
Yes.
At this brewery, Liquid Hero. What
the
brewery?
most ridiculous
Liquid
up and
Hero,
coming
York, PA,
brewery.
Liquid Brewery.
Yeah, they're a good
They
group
said
of
that we
people.
should film the next episode in their brewery.
Nothing good comes out of the Northeast. Meanwhile, you're watching this video and putting your family aside. So,
Yeah.
and we're from the Northeast.
All of
Yeah.
this is coming out of the Northeast.
But honestly, we should do a walk around because I don't think it's a separate video. Because I think we should do a walk around here, a quick wrap up of like a. few
I got to
minutes.
be honest. I don't want any of your client base coming through this facility.
I can.
Love you guys. No offense, but
I don't want any of these fucking guys.
No, I do,
But no,
I do.
but there's a
I
lot
do.
of guys
I
like
would
me.
love to.
Think
These
about it,
guys
right?
are like, where do
just-
I buy a $200 turbo for $100? You don't want that.
But
which is cool if they want like a $4,000.
There are a lot of guys
I'll just
on here
rip
that are
this
like
thing
me,
off
though.
the thing, and then we'll walk it through your air
No,
conditioned
let's,
showroom back there. And
They can do
I
both.
feel
they'll
like
lose their minds. This isn't
we're gonna
sloppy
make
enough.
the greatest culture clash out of this that's ever existed.
Look
I
at what we did with
guarantee
the
it.
cop car. You, me, Corey, and we go, oh, let's fuck this fucking car up as much as we can. And I have my Evo here that I dump thousands of dollars into all the time. I can
But
do
it just
both.
goes and goes and goes.
There's a lot of guys on Sloppy Mechanics that can do both and that can appreciate both.
Yeah.
Some
Which is
guys
the
make-
dynamic. It's a range
No, it's
I
just
have
a
that I
great.
don't think
It
a lot of
is.
them
It's a
realize.
great general form to just ask
Look
questions.
at
but be more
guys
specific.
like John Berkey and
Oh, Berkey.
and Mark.
Look,
They have
Like,
they
we
can
gotta
afford
talk
things,
about, like,
they
let's
have money,
preface
they
that
like
next time
fun.
with, look, dude, don't go back to the Diet Pepsi. Liquid Hero supplied us with libations. That's gonna be. Here's the test.
I like the
Matt.
I like the
there's
soda to clear my palate.
there is absolutely no hop in this whatsoever.
No, that's a good one.
That's what they told me.
All right, so listen, we're done with questions. There's a whole lot more
smell
we
it.
didn't answer. Matt may go do another video, but I do think
Yeah, guys, I may do
If
another
you guys
entire
include me
video.
again, I would love to be involved in this again, but
but
I
before
love
you get into
watching.
that, I think that Chad, we should give you a minute or two to at least overview what you do. Give these guys.
we
here-
do in the simplistic form. We do the polar opposite of what you guys do. So let's we'll take a walk around, put it on the internet, and we'll have a good time. And I'll catch you guys at Liquid Hero next time.
word.
quick. We'll just
See ya.
Yeah,
leave it rolling and we'll
yeah, we'll leave it
off
on, and
the
you
thing
can. I would like you to talk throughout and just
Well, I'd like to. Can you put that on there?
no leaking.
Brandon, what are you doing over there?
Talk about
Why
what
don't
you
we
do.
let Brandon do the walk around? He's not short on words.
We got-
let's be honest.
We got Steve's shitty truck here. Emphasis on shitty truck. Liquid Hero, partially sponsoring this video. York, PA Brewer. Liquid
So
Hero.
Chad's gonna go urinate real quick.
There's
Sure, that's what friends are for.
there's a McLaren MPC 412 or whatever it is. Who cares? Who cares about the McLaren? No, actually, it's cool. It's like a twin turbo V8 or a turbo V8, or he's gonna do some parts and whatnot. I sat in this thing and felt inadequate as a man. Seat costs more than my house does, probably. I think it's like what is that? A $200,000 car?
I think 280 new.
We got no lights on it here, but there's a whole fucking pile of Evos, more Evos, and then there's a climate-controlled storeroom back here, which you can pay to. There's a fucking Corrado. Who gives a shit about that? There's a GTR that's lime green. Shout out to my buddy Costas has one. Fuck lime green. Anyway.
This is kind of like mine.
Yeah, there's this storage facility here. Every now and then, like, there's some weird shit in here, like you wouldn't expect, like
GNX.
yeah,
Cyclone.
Grand National Cyclone and other strange things. But there's some GTRs,
New
Roush
GT350.
Mustang. This is Chad's Porsche. And then
You should probably
MR2 and more Mitsubishis out the ass.
Turbo 930.
Yeah, this thing's beautiful. I mean, he's got a little bit of a cover on it, but he does
then-
all year round, like storage. You can pay to have your car stored here.
This is a GT350R.
GT350R, damn, the newest one.
Yeah,
The new.
compliments of some other friends. So they just had a dyno day and an open house here, and they had a lot of cars come in, and then that's why the McLaren's here and some other stuff. So
Yeah, this is I guess I'll add, this is the least amount of vehicles I've ever seen in this place.
yes,
It's usually slammed. I'm surprised, honestly.
let's see if this door's open.
Yeah, I guess we'll see if the showroom's open. I'll get Steve to go ahead of me because I'm handling some shit.
Yeah, it's open. Good.
Oh, cool. He has an entire showroom.
So Chad comes from a racing history, running the American circuit in the late '90s and early 2000s. Laguna Seca and Florida and different things. So they did a lot of product development here over the years. You can see his suits from certain hours of Sebring and American Le Mans series
Yeah,
and different things.
and his showroom is nicer than your house.
Well, we haven't seen their house yet. So.
Yeah, well,
Nicer than mine.
it's nice.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Don't tell the wife. We do this because people like it. You know, it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's nice. No longer available.
Not at all. We don't do that stuff anymore. We do all custom CBRD stuff.
Bog Wieners.
Yeah, Borg.
We do these
Borg
wieners.
Warner, which I call
We do-
Bog Wiener.
We do 61 pound per minute wiener schnitzels. And they actually work really well. Company we never
Yeah,
worked with
they're
before.
incredible. I mean,
Yes.
If I wanted to spend more money, I would probably do it, but I don't.
One
so
of
I
these
won't.
days we'll lock you in.
Now
Yeah.
we'll LS swap it before that.
And then, well, the lights aren't on back here, but there's.
Yeah, but you gotta go in.
Look at that. They're voice activated.
Oh, voice activated. But then there's that's the shop out there, the ceiling and
This is
whatnot.
where
But
people watch us put zip ties and hot glue on stuff.
yeah, zip
The lights
ties.
don't work because we're filming a sloppy edition at CBRD, which is
Yeah.
super excited about.
Okay.
Until the IRS calls and says, "You guys didn't turn profit this year." Well, it all starts with that video.
But yeah, there's just Evos out the ass.
So we are the polar opposite of
Yeah, this is the anti-sloppy, basically.
Appreciation is a two-way street.
there's never been more.
Oh, well, show him, dude. You have a dyno. He has his own dyno cell.
Oh, yeah.
Mine's in like a barn door thing with leaves and mud.
Anytime you want to come down here, you're invited.
Yeah, well, check out your.
Come set the new dyno record.
Yeah.
We gotta start doing some LS stuff.
If you do a 4 liter, can I divide it by 2 to make it equivalent to my 2 liter record? So
Yeah.
You have to make 1,790 horsepower to set the record.
Oh yeah, look at this, guys. This is some shit.
She's all worn out. 4,000 miles on this thing.
I wish my dyno jet had like a mileage thing that I could show how many miles are on it, honestly, because
That is the only problem with the Mustang dyno. Is as low as it reads, people can mess with them if they want to. So.
yeah, you can just fuck the numbers up, change the vehicle weight, and drastically change. That's what I noticed on like Frank's versus my dyno jet. It's like a change of vehicle weight and make another 250 wheel.
Yeah, vehicle weight not as much. There is a multiplier though.
But yeah, you can just fuck with a number and make 800 horsepower.
Lower it one time. The Mustang was like, why would you want to lower us? Because we want to seem more awesomer when you go to the racetrack.
But yeah.
That's why I keep coming.
Yeah.
Well, I think at
That about covers it.
well, maybe we'll just show the fab thing over here quick.
We should probably show my truck some more.
Nah, fuck that. Who cares about that thing? Well, this is where we filmed, and then this is like the fab shop with all the jigs and everything for the kits that people order through.
All the LS parts that we
Yeah,
made.
this is where he builds all his LS
here's my
stuff.
LS jig. This is my twin turbo.
Yeah,
kit.
here, hold on a second. Let's show you the twin
This
turbo.
is the new twin turbo kit from CBRD. There's the jig. Both turbos on there.
Yeah, it's fucking it's
Vaporware.
nice.
Vaporware.
He doesn't do anything shitty. It's nice as hell. But yeah, and then this I welded this up earlier.
That's
It's
great work,
Dude,
man.
that is the best stick welding I've ever seen. You
Yeah,
weld
I
that
mean-
and then you hit it with a hammer and all the slack fell off.
That was
yeah, I
from
mean, it was amazing. I did a really nice job. But
This is a 90 amper from fucking Harbor
at
Freight.
this point, we'll just cut it off because we're all retarded and it's an hour and 30 in and we have exhausted our efforts. So I hope you enjoyed episode 2. Let us know what you guys think and we'll
Thanks
try
for
to.
choosing me.
Yes, thanks for choosing CBRD.
We're glad we could help.